Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the Sabos radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio 3 times every week yet on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, unfortunately, there's a serious threat to your home. It's called title fraud. Criminals forge a document, file it, just like that, your title is stolen. They can even take out loans against your property. That's why I'm urging you to use Home Title Lock. They provide 24/7 monitoring, alerts, and restoration of your title if fraud occurs. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code BILL25 for 25% off their protection plans. That's HomeTitleLock.com, code BILL25. On this Tuesday, I hope you read my latest column on BillO'Reilly.com about why President Trump is so frenetic. There is a strategy to this. Not mentioned in the column is the incredible failure of the Biden administration, which is now driving much of the Trump agenda. Partial list. President Biden had no plan to stop the war in Ukraine or the Hamas hostage situation. No strategy whatsoever. Under Biden, air traffic control in the USA cratered. The feds need about 2,000 more controllers in the towers right now. Thank you, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, for doing absolutely nothing. Under Biden, an estimated 10 million foreign nationals entered the USA without proper supervision. Thank you, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who championed the open border. On Joe's watch, food prices jumped 20%, and it's not likely they will decline very much. Once a price point for necessities is established, it's almost impossible to rescind. Almost every single trade deal the USA had under Biden favored the other country. Joe Biden ran up more than $7 trillion in debt over 4 years. He allowed billions to go to Iran, even as that dastardly country was sending murder money and arms to Hamas and Hezbollah. The list goes on and on. So Trump is trying to reverse as much of that as quickly as he can. And that is what we are seeing. Back in a moment. Ivermectin. It's a name you've heard before, but getting access can be a hassle. That's why you need to check out All Family Pharmacy. They're a licensed pharmacy in Florida, providing ivermectin and other hard-to-get meds. They take care of the prescription and ship it right to your door. You can even stock up in bulk. Please visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 for 10% off. Be proactive. Being prepared isn't just a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
We really have a lot to look forward to this week. Nice mild temperatures today into the lower 60s under mostly cloudy skies, but it should be dry. Southwest winds at 10 miles per hour. The normal high for this time of year is about 49, so we're way above normal today and tomorrow, too, with pleasant temperatures expected all week. We'll have a little bit of rain midweek around Wednesday, and then first thing you know, Saturday, it's March. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
We were there when our nation called us to serve. We were there to write the original GI Bill and get it signed into law. When a community found itself in the middle of a natural disaster. when tragedy struck at a local school, for veterans who suffered from toxic exposure and needed a voice on Capitol Hill. And we're still serving as part of the American Legion. For more than 100 years, veterans have been strengthening our nation through the American Legion, through programs that help our nation's youth become tomorrow's leaders, by keeping the spirit of our forefathers alive and well, and by helping veterans receive the benefits they earned through their service. The American Legion will be there for the next 100 years. Learn more about how we're helping in your community at legion.org.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
We have had the debate before about whether or not government should be subsidizing stadiums. You know what? Let me check that. Let me do that again. Whether or not taxpayers should be forced to help pay for stadiums where millionaire ball players and billionaire owners make their money. Well, we don't have one of those projects in St. Louis at the moment, but all of us here in St. Louis might be taxed, and we might have to pay for some stadiums to be built in the Kansas City area. Yeah, we're going to talk about that at 7:35 with our friends from the Show Me Institute. Hey, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of the day here. A lot going on in Washington, D.C., obviously. Monday, we woke up to the news that Dan Bongino is going to be leaving his radio program and podcasting to join the Trump administration. And, of course, you've also got now the time where the rubber hits the road, not about executive orders anymore. It's what are the Republicans who control Congress going to do from this point on, and that starts with the spending plan and the Trump tax cuts. We caught up with our very own Congressman Bob Onder on Monday's show to get the update from Washington, D.C. Here's what he had to say. Guys, I forgot to include in the news report the breaking news that happened just within the last 48 hours.
What's that?
Joy Reid, the readout.
Oh, yeah, that's
on MSNBC.
right. Yep.
Canceled. She's done.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's got a few more shows. She's going to get to say her goodbye, which, I mean, there's going to be like dozens of people who appreciate the fact that she's going to be able to say.
They'll all be very joyful.
Joyful, precisely.
I will disagree with you because every conservative show out there is going to clip the crap out of those last few shows, and all of us are going to enjoy the tearful farewell.
That's really all her show's been good for is giving us material.
Yes,
to chomp on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise, I mean, the rate. This is a free market, and she's getting let go during Black History Month.
Yep. Yeah. A number of people's like, oh, the fact that they're letting a black woman go in the Black History Month says so much about the leadership.
Oh, the irony.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. At MSNBC, by the way.
Oh, at MSNBC.
They're saying, oh, MSNBC is so racist, essentially.
I haven't seen what's going to replace her. I mean, are they moving Jen Psaki in that? I don't know what they're going to do with that, but who knows? Mike Ferguson here, got Gabe Pfeiffer here, got Stel Ponticus here. Going to give them a second to try to recover from the news that Joy Reid's no longer going to be on the air. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to hit you with that.
Hurt my heart.
Joined now by Congressman Bob Onder. Bob, do you need a moment to reflect and memorialize the readout, which is out this
Well,
point?
Good morning, guys. It is a time of deep sorrow, but I do have a poll going on Twitter right now. Mm-hmm. Will anyone miss Joy Reid's show? Yes, 5%. No, 52%. And what show? Who's Joy Reid?
Nice. Oh my goodness. That's your account's handle is tagged on ours.
I think her show only existed to provide material for shows like yours.
I think you're right. So, I mean,
reminds me of Cori Bush's candidacy.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's basically filled the same niche.
Yeah. I mean, Bob, I'm assuming you were never invited to be on the readout with Joy Reid.
I never was, and I'm deeply offended, and I think it's racist.
Yeah, he just went there. Oh, my goodness. All right, so what was it? Friday, I think it was, the U.S. Senate passes, it's not a budget plan, but it's a spending plan. Right. And so you've got in the House another spending plan you all are talking about now. The clock is ticking to some degree on this. And it seems to be, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this, Bob, is that at least the first spending plan and vote, pretty important for the Republicans to be on the same page and be on the same page with the president. After whatever's agreed upon, there may be a knockdown drag out. But for the first one, especially, while Doge is trying to cut everything, it seems like there's a extra pressure on Republicans right now to get on the same page on the big stuff and get something agreed to. What's your read on what's happening in the House right now?
Yeah. So you're right. On Friday, the Senate passed their budget resolution. The previous Thursday, the House passed our budget resolution. And the big difference is the difference between a big, beautiful bill, one bill that would renew the Trump tax cuts, fund border security, border guards, build the wall, as well as institute a sane energy policy, and at the same time cut spending to pay for it all, versus the Senate approach, which is to go ahead and do the border wall, energy, and defense part now, and then save the tax cut renewal to later on. Now, if I were really convinced that it all were going to happen, let's say by the fall of this year, I would be indifferent as to which of those two approaches we take. But I think many of us fear that if we kick the can down the road on the tax cut and spending cut renewal, that we won't do it, that we just flat out won't do it, and that it's great. We want to do border security as soon as possible, of course, but many of us, including my good friend Jason Smith, the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, and of course President Trump, believe that one big beautiful bill approach is the better one.
Morning, Bob. Gabe here. Now, you mentioned the spending cuts that are included in this approach here. Now, color me skeptical, but I've heard the idea of cuts before, and the tendency has been to describe reductions in growth as cuts, as opposed to real cuts. Now, which ones are we talking here?
Believe me, I am extremely skeptical, because we've been hearing about cutting spending and cutting out waste, fraud, and abuse for generations. Democrats have even talked that way much of the time, and yet it's not happened. We are talking about real cuts in spending. So we're talking about, for instance, the Energy and Commerce Committee cutting out $850 billion. We're talking about the Education Committee cutting out $350 billion. We're talking about real cuts. And that's where, I have some trepidation, because unfortunately, I know this will come as a shocker, there are Republicans who don't want to cut spending, that the minute the Democrats and the left start talking about, you're going to cut Medicaid, all of a sudden they get weak-kneed and retrench. So I want to make it 100% clear. No one's talking about Social Security cuts. No one's talking about Medicare cuts, and no one's really talking per se about cutting Medicaid. What we're talking about is ending waste, fraud, and abuse. We're talking about Medicaid work requirements, and we're talking about, just rolling back some of the ridiculous expansion that's happened over these past few years, when not only did we have Obamacare Medicaid expansion, Biden care Medicaid expansion, but then states were not checking eligibility for a long period of time. There is so much waste in that program. We need to reform it badly. But yeah, do I believe all my Republican colleagues are equally committed to that? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, and I want to also just remind everybody that with the Trump tax cuts, if you don't do something proactively to extend them, they automatically expire and our taxes go up. This is the perfect case scenario for the Democrats, who might get tax increases, but also be able to point and blame the Republicans for it going into the next election cycle. So that's what I was talking about with that pressure on, because the way that the Trump tax cuts were done, it is a matter of they automatically continue until somebody changes it. They expire, and you have to proactively legislate them to remain in existence.
That is completely true. No, the Democrats were deeply committed to ending the Trump tax cuts. Kamala Harris was very clear about that. The House and Senate Democrats are very clear they will not help Republicans extend the 2017 Trump tax cuts, the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, which means the Democrats are very much in favor of a 22% tax increase across the board, the largest tax increase in U.S. history. The average family would pay $1,500 more per year in taxes. That's on top of the hidden inflation tax of $8,100 in the last 4 years because of the inflationary policies of Biden and a Democrat Congress. So this is the road to economic catastrophe. The way to get our economy going again is really very simple: to rein in spending, to renew the Trump tax cuts, and restore sensible energy policy, which all by itself would cut the inflation rate. But Democrats are fighting us on every one of those agenda items.
Bob, does the legislation in question make the Trump tax cuts permanent? Speaking of their expiration date, and also beyond that, are there other tax cuts kind of on the agenda of being implemented?
Well, the tax cuts, the budget reconciliation passed by the House would make the tax cuts permanent, and of course that's one of the areas, making just extending them, let's say 5 years. That's one of the things that could be done to, quote, save money, make the cuts have less effect on our budget. But we need to make them permanent because, job creators, businesses, they crave certainty about the future. That's what causes them to invest in plant and equipment and hire people and get our economy going. We in our personal budgets need certainty, knowing what our taxes are going to be down, not just this year or next year, but down the road. So making the tax cuts permanent is something Donald Trump has advocated for, and something that we want to see happen in the U.S. House as well.
Okay, just got a minute or so left, Bob. But what's your read in the House? I mean, obviously, there's some contact with the Senate as well. Are Republicans focused on at least getting this one right? I mean, I'd love to see an actual permanent annual budget, but I don't think that's going to be in the cards for this. But at least for this one, do the Republicans seem united enough to pull off something smart?
Yeah, I think the Trump tax cuts will get renewed. I will give major credit at the end of the day, not only to the leadership of the U.S. House, but of course, most of all, to President Trump. But it will take the kind of political skills of President Trump to pull this off. But I think we do it.
Okay. All right. Congressman Bob Onder, appreciate you being on the program again. Look forward to getting the other update later on this week. But Godspeed as we're trying to keep the train on the rails there. Pretty important time, I would say, probably in the next, 60 days?
Trump's first 100 days will be critically important, and we can't blow it. It's just too important.
All right. As normal, we got a lot of ground to cover today. Don't forget, you can be a part of the conversation anytime now, 314-912-1019. And of course, we're going to be keeping track of all the comments on social media as well. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL. Enable our Alexa skill.
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
Yes, I'm listening.
Play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis. Severs JCB, a trusted leader in agriculture and construction. Connect with SeversJCB.com and browse their inventory or stop by and let them show you the capabilities of the JCB lineup. Telebooms, skid steers, loaders, forklifts, excavators, backhoes, and more. JCB has pushed diesel to its limits with machines that now emit 50% less CO2. JCB's new Icon software system will blow your mind, offering iConfigure, iConnect, and iControl. Learn more at SeversJCB.com.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Hi, this is Mark McCloskey. Check out my show, Mark McCloskey on Fire, Sunday afternoon at 5 here on News Talk STL. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, so apparently Megyn Kelly got angry over nothing.
Oh, okay.
That would never happen.
No, not at all. Did she throw in any foul language? I didn't catch it.
I think she wakes up to that. I don't know who she's married to, but I can imagine she kind of wakes up and is like, good effing morning. I'm going to go get some effing breakfast. I'm just guessing. Oh, my goodness. All right. Don't forget our podcast on-demand listing, because we got a lot of really good conversations that I think a lot of your friends and family and social media are going to want to check out. So make sure you're subscribed to that. Just look at News Talk STL, or if you want, just the morning show here, Mike Ferguson in the morning. Okay, a couple quick things here. It is 5:51, coming up on 5:52 here on this. It's only Tuesday, right?
Yeah. Last time I checked.
Okay.
Feels like summer, though, doesn't it?
Kind of. It's nice out. I did not wear my leather jacket today. This is what I have on right now. I've got my Battlehawks very thin pullover. That's it. That's all I had today. And the driveway was completely wet from all the snow melting.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yes. Because I think we're generally going to be in 40s, 50s this week.
Another day. Well, yeah, another day in the 60s today, and then
nice.
level off a little bit, and 50s, I think, over the weekend. Should be nice for the next few days.
I'll take it. It's February going into March. I'll take it. All right, just a couple quick things here, because there's one thing that I don't think this is. I don't think it is malicious on the media's part, but they are getting part of a story wrong. So you may see some headlines that say sports betting in Missouri. Remember, Amendment 2, barely, we're talking like less than 0.5% legalized sports betting, because the gambling outfits wrote the bill and they got it passed. I mean, they bought the amendment. But the headlines are: Missouri sports betting delayed after Secretary of State Hoskins rejects emergency rules. Okay, that's not accurate. So here's what's going on. After Amendment 2 was passed, there's now a process that has to take place statutorily, as far as like hearings and making the rest of the regulations and how it's going to be implemented. That's just normal. So with Amendment 2 being passed, it's supposed to go into effect on December 1st of 2025. That's the rule. Unless it can be implemented faster based on there being an emergency provision of some kind, because sometimes there's a referendum passed or a law passed or something, and it's declared that it meets the criteria for something that is emergency. We just can't wait till December 1st. Well, the Secretary of State says, no, there's no emergency, because you can't bet on the game. That's not an emergency. we're going to go ahead and go through the process. But the media keeps saying that the Secretary of State is delaying it, because here's what's happening is the Major League Baseball, college baseball, all of these things that are spring, summer, and fall sports, XFL, all of these, they want a piece of the action for the sports betting.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't go into effect until December 1st, by the way, March Madness, all of that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That means that there's basically an entire year that they have to wait to get their extra money and their pieces of the gambling. And so the media is reporting this as though Denny Hoskins is just standing in the way and not allowing it. Well, no, that's the way the thing's written. He just said, no, there's no overriding emergency because you can't bet on a Cardinals game right now. That's it. So the media is getting this wrong. Denny Hoskins is not delaying anything. He's just saying this is the letter of the law. Now, Denny Hoskins, when he was in the state Senate, he was opposed to legalized sports betting. So, I mean, I'm sure that may very well have something to do with this. But the reality is he's just simply implementing it as written. He's not delaying it. He's just not giving it an emergency preferential treatment.
Is there a point of irritation here because folks go to Kansas and they're able
Illinois,
and they're able to get their bet in?
Yes, absolutely. But he's arguing and saying, or he actually he's declaring, because it's his purview.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that's not an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you wanted it earlier, you should have written the language to implement it earlier. But he's just going to say, we're going to go through the statutory process the way that it's written and the way that it's supposed to go. So just keep that in mind when you see headlines in social media. The Secretary of State is delaying this, because he doesn't like sports betting. Well, I don't know what his objection to sports betting is. I don't know, but that's just not correct. I know it's a little wonky to start with, but whenever the media gets it wrong, I always want to put that out there. Okay, so Megyn Kelly apparently blew her stack without a reason this week.
Speaking of getting things wrong.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I was thinking, because we were on the air when we mentioned this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
yesterday.
Yesterday. Cause I remember us going, man, if this is true, that's bad, but I'm sure glad we said the, if this is true part, because it's not. So to clarify what happened here, Megyn Kelly kind of blistered the social medias, angry because of reports that the Philadelphia Eagles declined the invitation to go to the White House to meet with Donald Trump after winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And, she did the Megyn Kelly outrage, and I like Megyn Kelly. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think she's incredibly entertaining. If you're in the mood to listen to a whole bunch of F-bombs, you can, she's good. She's very smart.
Although she doesn't dish out that many of them on her own podcast.
Well, when she gets fired up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Even in person,
it's
she'll
a
do
default. It. Yeah. And so here's the thing, though, is there was some rumor that went on there, and she went on social media like, I can't believe that, well, the Eagles said, we haven't even received the invitation yet. The White House says, yeah, it's not time to send those out yet. That's a summer thing. And the Eagles have put out a statement. They said, yeah, we'll go to the White House. We'll meet. Now, whether or not there's been questions whether Donald Trump wants to keep doing that tradition or not. But no, the Eagles never said no to the White House. They say they'll go.
When it's important to you,
they always discuss the most important topics.
It's on News Talk STL.
Senator confirmed as Director of National Intelligence.
Almost all the members of this panel are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
News, analysis, opinion.
The president spoke with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, the two sides agreeing to pump the brakes on tariffs and then retaliatory tariffs that Mexico promised.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
My talk station.
News Talk STL.
Hey, Tim Jones here with a reminder. Winter is the perfect time to obtain an expert evaluation of all your trees, shrubs, your biggest assets for safety, health, or maybe even removal. Hanson's Tree Service, locally owned and operated, not only can consult with you on the exact services you need, but during the winter months, you might even save more money. Keep their emergency number handy in case you need it. Emergency removal anytime over the winter months. Hanson's Tree Service, 636-379-1830, hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
The Napoli heritage of fine dining continues with Napoli Kirkwood. Napoli Kirkwood, now open. So add that to Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. And don't forget about Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the district, Chesterfield Valley. All of those locations, plus now open Napoli, Kirkwood.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Attorney General Andrew Bailey. I just realized who you remind me of now that you're rocking the beard. Do you and J.D. Vance get mistaken for each other?
Uh-oh.
You guys could be brothers, I think. Yeah, which is a good thing.
We served in Iraq at the same time. Our nation's in a good spot with this administration coming in office.
Do you wear eyeliner?
I do not. I'm not quite that cool.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. What President Trump calls one big beautiful bill may come to a vote later today in the House. A budget bill would advance major elements of the Trump agenda, including more money for border security and an extension of the Trump tax cuts set to expire. House Speaker Mike Johnson working to round up the necessary Republican votes, while the Democrats, they stand united against the bill. The president endorses the latest candidate to announce a gubernatorial bid in the Buckeye State.
The Ohio governor's race is heating up, with biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy jumping into the 2026 race. Republican Governor Mike DeWine is term limited. The Cincinnati-born former presidential candidate joins the Republican primary field a month after the former Lieutenant Governor John Husted was appointed to fill Vice President J.D. Vance's Senate seat. Husted's backers will be looking to switch their allegiance. Other Republican candidates include Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost and Heather Hill, a Black entrepreneur from Appalachia. On the Democratic side is Dr. Amy Acton, the former state health director. I'm Jennifer King.
Democrats facing a lack of enthusiasm among donors, dismayed over the party's 2024 losses.
Many Democrat supporters say they're frustrated by the way the Biden administration secured their support on the premise Joe Biden could once again defeat Donald Trump, and say that the later switch to Kamala Harris left the party flat-footed. Still smarting over the failures, one anonymous donor complained to The Hill, quote, "They want us to spend money, and for what? For no message, no organization, no forward thinking." Bob Agnew reporting.
President Trump endorsing Elon Musk's attempts to find out exactly what federal workers have been up to over the past week. And French President Macron calls President Trump a game changer, raising hopes of finally ending the war in Ukraine. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures down 19 points. S&P futures are off 6 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN Hearing.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A terrific Tuesday forecast with late February temperatures that feel a lot more like late March or early April. Mostly sunny today, an afternoon high up to 63 with a northwest wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Increasing cloudiness tonight, a mild low of 43, and then some light spotty rain showers around tomorrow, but really not a big deal here, not a soaker. And despite mostly cloudy skies, we're still mild. Tomorrow's high at 62. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chase.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Piccadilly Palace, located in Union, Missouri. The ultimate family fun center is Piccadilly Palace. Call 314-860-6418 or visit piccadillypalace.com.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit stlfenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me vent here.
Live and local.
Way to be, guys. 1019 all the way.
This is News Talk STL.
I am home.
Mike Ferguson.
This is the kind of adventure I usually have to force upon us, and here it is, falling into our laps.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
They're buying it.
Get up! Get up! In case you hear the alarm. Get up, St. Louis.
Watch you pop a squat, son.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin Bob.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
All right, shooting down drug drones in the desert.
Drug drones.
Drug drones.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that one.
Yep, I will here in just a second. Also, Doge comes to St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there is some cutting being done on both sides of the river.
All right.
And listen, also, don't worry, guys.
Mm-hmm.
If you are tired of traffic flowing too smoothly on the Del Mar Loop,
oh no.
We now know when we're going to fix that and clog traffic up again with the trolley boondoggle.
Oh, the trolley is back.
The schedule has been released.
Oh,
thank you, Joe Edwards. All right, 6:06 right now. Let's go and dump some news on you.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
I don't care how old I get, how many years I do this show.
Mm-hmm.
When they announce the schedule for the new trolley for the year, I'm going to complain and stomp my feet about it. I'm just saying.
Well, we should, because the trolley project should have died ages ago.
It should have died a long time ago. All right, the Trump administration, as you know, hiring Dan Bongino as deputy FBI director. He will serve as second in command to Kash Patel. Congressman Jim Jordan was asked about that on Fox's The Ingram Angle last night.
Dan Bongino is a good man with experience in the New York, police department, Secret Service. He's exactly the kind of guy we need.
Okay, and at 7:05, we're going to talk to our friends from Tea Party Patriots and ask the question then, what's next? When it comes to once they're in place, and obviously, there's a lot of conservatives and there's a lot of MAGA folks who are really excited about this. Okay, what are the next steps to actually cleaning up the FBI as part of Kristi Noem's overall effort to clean up the Department of Justice and get rid of the weaponization of it? So that conversation is coming 7:05.
Yep, I have a feeling that it's going to be a little ugly to begin with. But hopefully it'll work out.
Yep. Did Kash Patel ever get a better official portrait, by the way?
I don't know.
I need to look that up.
Yeah,
they need to do something different with
that picture where he's done the straight on with the big eyes,
with the bug eyes,
bug eyes. Yeah,
he looks crazy.
Yeah,
I know he's not crazy, but let's be honest. This isn't the best looking guy in the world, and he just kind of looks really crazy.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to order a no knock on you.
That's right. For fun.
For fun.
Why? Because it's Saturday night. That's why. Oh man,
you done messed with the wrong man now.
That's right. All right, foreign drug cartels now, we're being told, are using drones to fly fentanyl across the southern border, especially down in Arizona. This has been documented. The state has introduced a new bill that would allow local law enforcement to take the drones down. Arizona's Attorney General Chris Mays was on Fox's America's Newsroom to talk about the bill, which she's involved with writing.
I'm a Democrat, but we joined with Republicans in the legislature to write a bill that would allow our local law enforcement to shoot these drones down or to disable them with what are called drone jammers.
And the Attorney General says the bill is an important tool to fight the fentanyl crisis, saying, and I'm quoting her here, half of all fentanyl seized in the United States was seized in Arizona over the last 2 years, end of quote. The bill also indemnifies law enforcement for any damage caused by taking out a citizen's drone if it is a suspected cartel drone. I don't like that part.
Yeah.
That's your private property. If you got the right to fly it out there, you're going to shoot down somebody's property. You better make sure it's the right one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is too, a lot of the rural properties out there, especially the big ranches and the big farms, they use drones these days to survey their own property and get a good look at things. Some of our footage of people crossing the borders came from private drones. So we got to be real careful about that.
I completely agree.
But I also think it's interesting how the cartels are adjusting to the fact that the border is close to human traffic.
Right.
Which is this is the problem that we actually want to have as opposed to what was going on before.
Yep, exactly. All right, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem ordered last week, we talked about this, that all agents in her department be subjected to polygraph tests, and that is an effort to stop information leaks to the press and to activist groups. Secretary Noem was on Hannity last night on Fox saying the tests are successful, and she's giving a warning to anybody else who's thinking about leaking and sharing that information.
I have found some leakers. We are continuing to get more. They will be fired. There will be consequences. And remember, when they leak information to the press in order to blow an op, they are putting law enforcement lives in jeopardy.
And of course, this all was personified in Aurora, Colorado, when ICE showed up to go after that terrorist Venezuelan gang. And the entire building that they had taken over openly was empty because somebody leaked that ICE was coming and gave them time to get out.
Yeah, and that could have gone a lot worse. Like if it was rather than bugging out, they decided to dig in. That basically that would have been setting up an ambush. So in that regard, I'm okay with the slight creepy factor of setting up the polygraphs.
I find it kind of interesting that some of the leaks include pictures of the ICE agents.
Oh, did they?
Oh, there's some. Now we're finding out there's some doxing happening.
Oh, geez. Okay, so it's even worse than I thought.
Yeah, well, that's within the last 24 hours. So, that's happened. Yep. All right, the Senate's Plan B is in place. Now it's up to Speaker Mike Johnson to deliver on Plan A, which is what Donald Trump calls the one big, beautiful bill. And, of course, this has been in the works for weeks. Correspondent Bernie Bennett has the story for us.
Speaking at an event held by Americans for Prosperity on Monday, Johnson stressed the importance of moving the, quote, one big beautiful bill the House is pursuing so that a swath of 2017 tax cuts don't expire without an extension. The House Rules Committee meets Monday to ready the House GOP budget plan for a House floor vote as a group of holdouts concerned about deep cuts to Medicaid and other safety net programs raise increasingly sharp concerns. It amounts to a key inflection point for President Donald Trump's domestic policy agenda, and GOP senators are eagerly watching to see if Johnson can finally unify his conference and move forward with his own plan. Senate Budget Committee Chair Lindsey Graham says if Johnson can pull it together, quote, I will be his biggest fan. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Okay, and we could actually have some movement today. We'll know in about 6 or 7 hours or so. All right, Doge comes to St. Louis, guys.
Ooh, was there a welcome wagon?
Yeah, depends on whether you're a team red or team blue. The commission and KMOV are reporting that Doge has canceled leases of federal field offices in the metro area. So here's what's going on. The lease for the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency in St. Louis, talking about the Missouri side, has, according to Doge's website, been ended. And they say that's going to save an estimated $425,000 over the remainder of that lease agreement. The General Services Administration building lease in O'Fallon, Illinois, has also been terminated, again, according to Doge's website. Doge says that's going to save about $240,000 over what would have been the course of that lease. And, of course, a lot of those, I suspect, were just kind of auto renewal with increases in the rent as well.
All right.
All right, let's see here. Do you remember this guy, a guy by the name of Vivek Ramaswamy?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Remember that guy?
Yep, familiar with him.
Yep. Okay, so he made it official yesterday what he'd already told us he was going to do, and that is launch a campaign for governor of Ohio. He outlined some of his early campaign promises. This is in Cincinnati.
We need to bring down the income tax, eventually down to zero, because you deserve to keep what you earn. It is your money, not the government's. We need to bring down property taxes in this state immediately, eventually down to zero.
Okay, so basically, if he's elected and people of like mind go into their state assembly or state legislature in Ohio, that means Ohio is trying to get far more competitive when it comes to economic stuff.
Oh yeah, all
means,
of a sudden they're going to become a big deal in the market for large companies and things like that, job creators.
And his statements felt a bit doji, didn't they?
Very much so.
A little doji, yeah.
Very much so.
Another one of his policy positions, which didn't quite make it to, I think, to the big things, was bringing back psychiatric hospitals facilities. Basically, he wants to bring back the insane asylums. And he said prisons, jail shouldn't be the first line of mental health, in our society. That's an interesting way to put it. It's and that's I actually stand by that, because we have a lot of our homeless, a lot of our a good portion of our crime these days is associated with a mental health crisis that we have no facilities for right now.
Yeah. All right, you guys know that I don't really do a lot of celebrity news at all. I just don't think much of it.
You kind of hate it.
However,
singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song.
Grammy-winning singer, pianist Roberta Flack has died.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her publicist confirming that she died surrounded by her family. She was 88 years old. Flack previously released in 2022 that she had been diagnosed with ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, okay.
And she was best known for that song, Killing Me Softly, with his song, which won a Grammy for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance in 1975.
Wow.
That song held up so well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, says she had The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, or a number of other. I mean, she was just, she was kind of the Whitney Houston before Whitney Houston. Is that fair to say, Stel?
I would say so, especially for that early to mid to late 70s period.
Yeah.
So, awesome artist. And I was a bit surprised that she was 88. That didn't hit me until you mentioned, hey, you know what? She was 88. What?
Yeah, that's right. And then was it the Fugees, I think, did a cover of that in was it the 90s or 2000s? That
might have been the 90s.
It feels like the 90s,
Okay.
but I don't know. Time gets wibbly wobbly for me.
And the thing is it normally, I mean, a good cover is a good cover. Obviously I'm not, a rap hip hop kind of guy, but they did a really nice job with that cover, which is unusual.
I really liked it
in a lot of ways. Yeah. All right. Your money being wasted on display. The 2025 Loop Trolley schedule has been announced. The rolling money pits are going to clog up traffic Thursdays through Sundays starting on May 1st. Now, remember, tens of millions of your tax dollars are tied up in this debacle that will again be tying up traffic on the loop. So when you see Joe Edwards say, hey, thanks for effing up the Del Mar loop that you've been trying to fix up your entire career. Boy, did you mess that up.
It's
man.
The loop trolley is one of the biggest government boondoggles ever.
Yeah, that was Kathy's dad's favorite word for it. A boondoggle.
Boondoggle.
Well, and remember that the only reason that this is running, they are doing the bare minimum just in order to not have to pay back the $50 or $60 million in funding that came from the government, because this thing completely failed and it killed off many businesses. That's just documented. Oh,
and it killed off many rear view mirrors.
Oh, yes, it has done that. That's for sure. Yeah. And they're probably not done with that.
Nope.
Yeah. All right, man, some leftists are not going to be happy with a few things happening in Jefferson City. We'll bring you the update at 6:20 here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education. For too long, Missouri officials have operated on the mistaken notion that parents only need one choice. They're assigned public school based on their address. ESAs put parents in charge. It's school choice at its best, with money following the students to the place that best fits their needs. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. This Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, this is Aaron Dorr. Check out my show, Shall Not Be Infringed, Sunday nights at 9. But now it's more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
All right, leftists going to lose their minds over a couple things happening in the Missouri legislature this week.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to Jim Murphy yesterday, I think it was, state representative. He's like, yeah, I think we're looking to lower the temperature. I don't think it's going to be anything that big in the headlines. Oh, boy, they pulled a fast one on Jim there.
Gotcha.
By the way, as we told you in the news dump, Doge now making changes in St. Louis. Is there a connection between the commission's work and small business? I think a lot of people are saying, okay, this is about balancing the federal government's bottom line. But at 6:35, one conservative small business group is making the case that, yes, cutting government spending is actually good for small business. And the majority of small businesses are totally on board with what Doge is doing. So let's talk to the Job Creators Network. That's going to be about 6:35 or so. All right, a couple things that's happening in Jefferson City here. By the way, we're getting reports now, as I just mentioned, that some left-wing activists are now doxing ICE agents, Department of Justice agents. So if they're trying to hunt down illegal aliens, which, remember, they're targeting the violent gangs first, there have been cases around the country where activists have snapped pictures of the ICE agents, figured out who they are, and posting their names and their addresses as well. So a little bit later on today, I think we should have a conversation about that.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. So unless the schedule changes at the last minute, a state Senate committee is going to vote on a bill that mandates boys only drop trowel in the boys' bathroom and girls are kept in the girls' bathrooms in schools.
What?
Specifically. Crazy talk.
Yeah,
I know.
Seriously. What the heck?
Yeah. So what's happening here? And this is a committee vote. And this is one of those where, remember, Republicans vastly dominate every committee in the legislature. They don't do a 50-50 split. They do it basically proportional for most of the committees. Ethics committees 50-50. But for the most part, Republicans have, over 2/3 of the seats. So they got over 2/3 of the stuff on most of the committees. And so there could be a vote today in one of those committees on a bill that would say, whatever you're born, that's the bathroom you're going to use in the schools.
Okay.
Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Senator Travis Fitzwater is the force behind that bill. They had hearings on it. Nobody spoke up in favor of the bill at the hearings, probably because a whole lot of people are like, we don't need to worry about this. The Republicans are going to pass this.
Right.
A lot of people showed up to speak against it, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So that hearing was last week. And there's a guy here in St. Louis County, and I'm looking at Missouri Net's coverage of this. His name is Michael Walk, and he's described as Michael Walk of St. Louis County is the father of a transgender girl, which means that he's the father of a mentally ill boy.
Right.
That's what that means.
That's what that means.
And I looked up his Facebook, and it's LGBT stuff everywhere.
Oh, of course it is.
At least what's available without being his friend, which I don't want to be his friend.
Yeah, no indications of social contagion whatsoever, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so he's quoted as saying, if my daughter were to enter a men's room, it would create a stir. she would immediately attract attention, and it would be obvious why. Given the hypersexualization many people project on transgender people, there would be very obvious risks to her personal safety. All right, you freak of a dad. You have a boy. You have a son, whether you accept that or not. And the hypersexualization and there's no such thing as a transgender person, of your gender dysphoric son, is because, frankly, of people like you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and what's funny is he's making the case that the same case that the girls are making. He's saying I don't trust a quote unquote girl in a room with a bunch of men. That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
he's just misidentifying the girl in question. But that's the actual argument on the other side. I don't trust a man in a woman's space.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we're using the proper definitions of those terms, so it's kind of crazy that they're using this backwards version of logic to justify themselves.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is that you shouldn't have to go pass a law for the state government to dictate to a local school district how they manage their bathrooms, but the local school districts are so captured, by an extreme perverted ideology that grooms children, that state lawmakers really don't have a choice at this point.
They got to.
Yeah, it's not a law that says what you have to do in your house. If you've got a private office building, you can have whatever policies you want, but it's saying where children are compelled by law to be. Which, remember, your kid doesn't go to school enough days, somebody's out looking for you.
Yeah, that's why they have truant officers, right?
Yeah, precisely. There are truancy laws. So in the places where children are mandated by state law to be, for the most part, obviously homeschooling, everything, but that they're saying we're going to protect children and we're not going to use state and local resources to embolden and to reaffirm this mental illness that's destroying so many lives because of these social contagions, which have been promulgated by the public schools.
Yep. And the public schools are such a mess that you need this outside interference, essentially, to rein them in.
Right. Yeah. That's just the way. So this is a common sense bill. It's I suspect it will pass, and the media can go crazy all they want.
I'll say this: it better pass.
Yeah. This is a no-brainer. This is a layup. Just pass it. Let the media throw a fit. Let the Rainbow Mafia throw their fit. Who cares? All right. Another thing that's happening. Nick Schroer mentioned this on social media last night, so I looked up his bill. He's pushing to make ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine available over the counter by law in Missouri.
Cool.
Yeah.
You said the words, by the way.
I did. I did.
We'll see what YouTube does.
Yeah, because right now you can still get this show on YouTube for the moment. Because I think are we still off? Like News Talk STL still off of YouTube?
I have not heard anyone say that we're back on.
So I suspect we're completely thrown off there. We've been thrown off. So the only one, I think this is the only show that's still on YouTube. But yeah, so he passed the bill. And I looked up the bill. It's, if you want to look up the wonky stuff, guys, it's SB 744.
Okay.
So if you want to look that stuff up, senate.mo.gov. And it is about as simple as it gets. It doesn't take 10 pages. It's very simple.
I love simple bills.
Yes. And if it were to pass, it just says, and let me read the summary. Under this act, ivermectin tablets and hydroxychloroquine tablets shall be available through over-the-counter purchases in Missouri without a prescription or consultation with a healthcare provider. And then there's a period.
Okay.
Right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, somebody's going to say, oh, the politicians are playing doctor again.
Well, here's the thing. The politicians have been playing doctor. It's just been in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And by the way, both of those types of medications are well proven to be safer than even the cough syrups that we tend to use when we're sick. So I never understood why prescription was necessary for those kind of things to begin with.
When I had the original novel virus COVID back in 2000, whatever it was, when I was hospitalized. 2020. Yeah. Yeah. I meant it's 2020. Yeah. And so when I was hospitalized with that, and I was in really bad shape with the original virus,
like about to be intubated, sort of.
I was in the room and it was right there staring at me. I was in the ICU. As a kind of a last ditch effort, guess what they gave me?
The thing.
Yeah.
The hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine.
That's what they did.
That's what they gave me.
Yeah, because they recognized its value early on.
And you were better within a couple of days.
Within like 36 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. I started to feel bad. I remember the nurse coming in, and this is before all the politics blew up on it.
Right.
And the nurse came in and she goes, they're having some luck with this in France. It's experimental. Are you up for it? I'm like, anything. Go ahead.
Right.
Now,
and
COVID
by
is
the way,
yeah,
by experimental, she meant
this
as a treatment for this particular illness, because they didn't know what the illness was and things like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so within 36 hours, I am feeling better. And it wasn't a thing. And then I find out that everybody wants to make this political.
Yeah. There's was it Kathy Hochul who made it illegal in her state?
She was one of them. I want to say Gretchen Whitmer may have been one of the first ones.
That's the one I was. Yeah.
Yeah. But Hochul eventually.
Whitmer is Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Yes. It was Michigan. Michigan made it illegal to prescribe it. Speaking of politicians playing doctor, right?
That's right. Yeah. So this bill being filed now, I don't know if there's hopefully there's time to move something this simple through, which, that's great. Now, can we get back, like you just said, Gabe, to letting me buy cold medicine without being tracked and treated like a suspected meth wholesaler?
Seriously, I had to walk to the front of Walmart to buy a NyQuil when I was really
when
deep
we were
in
all
it.
sick. Yeah. I went and bought, and so they like, give me your ID. I got to take a picture. I'm like, it's freaking Dayquil and NyQuil or allergy medicine. Can I just buy this stuff again so that I'm an adult and I can,
Promise I'm not making meth.
It's not the government's job to track when I have a cold or the flu. So how about some more medical freedom? Let's go all the way in on it. Let's do that. All right, just ahead here, Doge. We just talked about them coming to St. Louis, and a lot of times we think, well, that's they're going to fix what's happening in Washington, D.C. Could that have an effect on small businesses? Apparently, a lot of small businesses believe that it can. We're going to talk to Elaine Parker from the Job Creators Network right around 6:34.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Kash Patel and now Dan Bongino joining him at the FBI. There are going to be some major changes. Can't wait.
Larry Connors, USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A terrific Tuesday forecast with late February temperatures that feel a lot more like late March or early April. Mostly sunny today, an afternoon high up to 63 with a northwest wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Increasing cloudiness tonight, a mild low of 43, and then some light spotty rain showers around tomorrow, but really not a big deal here, not a soaker. And despite mostly cloudy skies, we're still mild. Tomorrow's high at 62. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Clint Black in concert. Clint Black, an incredible night featuring some of his greatest hits. Saturday, April 12th, 7 p.m., the Family Arena. Clint Black in concert. Special guests Ruby Lee and Emily Ann Roberts. On sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Clint Black.
Love your couch but hate sinking into it? Custom Foam has your solution. We specialize in replacing your cushion foam with firmer options, firmer than anything you'll find in furniture stores, and a fraction of the cost of new furniture. Need extra firm support or soft cushioning for your back pillows? We have options you can test in person. From couches to window seats, dining chairs to custom projects. We'll have your furniture feeling like new in just a few days. We even offer same-day service. Visit custom-foam.com. That's custom-foam.com.
Psst. Want to hear the best kept secret in St. Louis? Staff's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares. According to our customers, we have the best St. Louis style pizza anywhere. And we can't disagree. Dine in, pick up, or delivery at all 3 Steph's Pizza locations. In Lake St. Louis at 111 Potterford Trail, St. Peter's on Juggerman, and in St. Charles on Zumbel. Check us out at stephspizza.com. Staff's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares.
Hey, it's Susie Moore to tell you about Michael's Flooring. Michael's is known for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. Installing new flooring should be exciting, not a hassle you dread. Michael's has solved that, and their long list of happy repeat customers is proof. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring, with 3 locations, St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, the court cases are being decided, and it looks like Doge is going to continue to have access to the spending and a lot of programs that, frankly, a lot of people on the left don't seem to want a spotlight shined on. So there's the question over the wasteful spending, the fraud, the abuse, everything that goes along with that. And then there is, what is the actual impact? What is this all going to mean to us, especially in your community? And we're going to take a look at that from the small business perspective here in just a moment. I'm Mike Ferguson. I am now joined by Elaine Parker from the Job Creators Network. And Elaine, appreciate you being back on the program here. I mean, to some degree, we've heard about, wasteful spending and fraud, and, Citizens Against Government Waste does kind of its pork spending book every year. So this isn't a new concept, but what's happening right now with the Department of Government Efficiency, some would call it just kind of a soap opera, but the reality is that they're shining a light on some very deep-seated, wasteful tax, wasting taxpayers' money here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's incredible what's been uncovered, which I'm sure the swamp was well aware of all these years. But the American people are just learning about the specifics. We all always suspected, tangentially that, yeah, they're wasting our money, but what does it mean? I mean, what are they doing with it? And now you have these listings of these horrible, DEI contracts and how they were sending, millions to different countries for sex changes and DEI training and all of these programs that really make no sense to an average ordinary American who is struggling to buy eggs and put gas in their car. And so Doge is finally able to look at how to reduce the reckless spending that has driven the deficit and the killing inflation, the painful inflation that really threatens, everyday ordinary Americans. And they've done it in less than a month to the tune of about $2 billion a day. Can you imagine saving $2 billion a day and what that would mean for you? I mean, it's incredible to me.
Yeah. Now, you've recently surveyed your small business supporters who are involved with Job Creators Network regarding this, because there may be somebody who says, well, Elaine, I mean, yeah, that's big picture federal stuff, but what does this have to do with small businesses? But it sounds like the small business community feels a direct connection between that wasteful government spending and what's happening at the street level.
Well, I mean, think about it. Main Street small businesses typically work on very slim margins. And so for them to look at their budget probably every day and try to figure out, how can I do this more efficiently? How can I do this more smarter? How can I do this in a more effective way with, fewer resources? It's something that is just ingrained in their heads. And so to see the government doing this at the federal level with our taxpayer dollars, it's no wonder why our poll shows that 60% of small businesses support Elon Musk's efforts at Doge to cut government waste, fraud, and abuse and use our tax dollars more efficiently and more effectively.
What's the other 40% saying? Because that's six. I thought the number would have been a lot higher than that. Even in the mainstream media, they're admitting that there's an overwhelming majority of people who say, yeah, finding all this waste, fraud, and abuse, is really important. So I was actually surprised. I mean, I'm happy that 60% of small businesses support this effort to cut that, but what's the other 40% telling you?
Well, when you're getting 60% in any group, I mean, take it to the bank and run. When you look at Americans overall, I mean, particularly young voters, I mean, they love what Elon Musk is doing, regardless of their political ideologies, because young people love disruption. They hate waste. They hate wasting time. They're efficient. You know, they're so fast on technology. They pick up everything, very quickly. And so young voters just love what Elon is doing, and they love the speed at which they're doing it. I mean, I don't think we've seen so much change at the federal level in such a short period of time where people can physically see it. I mean, think about Doge has a website called doge.gov, right? If you go to it, it is literally the most transparent government initiative probably in the history of the country. There's just walls of receipts showing what government programs they're cutting. And things like ending media subscriptions to Bloomberg, Politico, the Washington Post from the CFPB budget, saving subscriptions were nearly $30 million in subscriptions to media publications. And can you imagine $30 million so that people can read the paper every morning? Why would taxpayers have to fund that? It's crazy. And then other things like ending real estate leases and at the State Department, which had an office in Miami. I wonder why they had an office in Miami. Could it be that it's much warmer there and beautiful? I mean, we've only got 6% of government employees coming to work every day in Washington, D.C. Why would we have an office in Miami? I bet you that office is not empty. What do you think, Mike?
Probably not. We're visiting with Elaine Parker from the Job Creators Network Foundation. And so here's the thing, though. What's amazing to me is Doge actually doesn't have the authority to stop this, but just shining a light on it has resulted in a lot of the spending being pulled and being shut down just from executive stuff. So Congress is going to have to step up with whatever Doge comes up with his final report and final look at all of this, and whatever's not stopped with the executives, because we have had savings because of what Doge is doing, but they don't have the authority to do it. What does Congress need to do as the follow-up once they get this final report, which isn't actually due for another year or so?
Well, look, I mean, Congress needs to step up and they need to focus on codifying these cuts. We have $37 trillion in debt. We have almost a $2 trillion deficit that President Trump inherited. And the Democrats in Congress that are screaming, this shouldn't be happening and our national security is under siege, and that Elon Musk wants to go into your checking account and take your money. I mean, I'm sorry, a guy who's worth, a couple $100 billion probably doesn't care about my checking account. But the Democrats are going to be on the wrong side of this because they're basically telling the American people that there's no waste, fraud, and abuse, that our taxpayer dollars are not being wasted in any way, shape, or form. And when the reality is that reckless spending has been one of the key drivers of inflation for all Americans. And so if they want to be on the wrong side of this, they're really going to regret it as a party. They seem to not understand what the American people voted for, and they are loving it. I mean, you see the polls. I mean, President Trump has the highest favorability ratings that we've ever seen for Trump, but also for any Republican. And we also see favorability ratings very high for Elon and Doge and what they're accomplishing. And we've even seen talk of people saying, hey, why don't you do a little bit of, giving some taxpayer dollars back to us in refunds? Right. Who knows if that'll really happen, but it sure would be nice.
Well, the inflation, I guess, is the one thing everybody's feeling. That was a driving factor in the past election. And it is kind of amazing from a strategic perspective that the Democrats didn't see the writing on the wall, read the messaging from this last election and say, hey, let's get in there and try to lead or co-lead with Doge and try to take the steering wheel on that, because at least they'd get credit for trying to repair some of the damage of the inflation that's happened over the last several years. Elaine, real quick, just one thing. I know we mentioned Congress. There is some legislation that you are also interested in from the Small Business Network in the last minute or so that we've got. This has to do with the swipe fees and free market competition with credit cards. Real quick, what is that so people can keep an eye out for it?
Yeah, there's a tremendous monopoly between MasterCard and Visa on the swipe fees. And those swipe fees go up every single year, and they have a disproportionate impact on our small businesses. And it tends to be one of the second highest line items on their balance sheet, only behind labor. And those swipe fees, there just is no end to how high they go, and they hurt our small businesses. And what we're asking for and what we're supporting, and is a bipartisan effort in Congress, is a bill called the Credit Card Competition Act, which will essentially open up competition to other companies to provide credit card services, so that we can have a little more competition in the credit card industry, a little more transparency, and it will help. What does competition do always? It brings down the cost of things for consumers because they have choice. And that is what the credit card competition will do, which will obviously help our small businesses.
Okay, we find out more about what you're doing at Job Creators Network and the foundation, how and where.
You can go to jobcreatorsnetwork.com and you can take a look at our poll. You can also take a look at some of the efforts like promoting the Credit Card Competition Act there as well.
All right, Elaine Parker from JCN, appreciate the update.
Thank you.
All right, I think a lot of times we look at this as the right thing to do when it comes to DOGE. The moral thing to do is to stop the wasteful spending, the fraud and abuse, and that's correct. But we also have to keep in mind that once this is fixed, we've got to feel that alleviate some of the economic pain we're dealing with as well, because it's supposed to be about serving us with government. So reducing that waste, reducing that fraud, driving down that inflation, making our cost of living more bearable across the country. You got some thoughts on it? Let's talk. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
Is what you are. All that I saw in you, now I see through. Don't shed a tear for me. My life won't end without you. Long as the night will be.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, this is Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins. I'm looking forward to our annual Republican Lincoln Day, March 7th through 9th in St. Louis. I encourage all my fellow conservative grassroots freedom fighters to join me and other elected officials at our annual Lincoln Day in March. Find more information at mogop.org. I look forward to seeing you there.
Get your tickets today at mogop.org. That's mogop.org.
Paid for by the Missouri Republican Party. Jennifer Finch, Treasurer.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, this is Susie Moore. Check out my show, Red State Radio, Sunday afternoon at 4, right here on News Talk STL. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
Mike, by the way, before we get into the news dump, it's a joyless Tuesday today.
Joyless?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Last night was her final
right.
show.
Yeah, that's right.
We thought it might be going on for another week or so.
No.
Yeah.
No. Did you see her social media? Like she just put the phone up and cried?
No, I didn't.
What I do has value. My show. No, apparently not.
Apparently
Free
not.
Market.
Not enough.
And Lester Holt is announced he's leaving NBC Nightly News as the anchor. He's been there for like 10 years, 11 years, something like that.
I guess he'll still keep doing Dateline.
Right.
But other than that, he's
Yeah,
gone.
I mean, a lot of people were celebrating with that one, but with Lester Holt, I'm like, he's had a really long career.
Yeah.
At his age, I can kind of see people like, I think I'm gonna step back and not run redlining schedule all the time. So, NBC News obviously is very biased, but I don't get the impression that he's getting fired or canceled. I think he's like, I'm kind of old. Maybe it's time to slow down.
Yeah. And David Muir over on ABC has been beating him for the last year or so.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I remember Lester from his Chicago days at WMAQ Channel 5 in Chicago when we weren't there.
Okay, yeah.
So you're right. He's been around for a long time.
I was talking to Larry Connors about Lester Holt yesterday when that news broke. And Larry had crossed paths with him, a few times in Larry's news anchoring days. He said, the guy was actually always very professional and polite and deferential to other people. And, now his reporting has been obviously leftist.
But he had that reputation in Chicago of being a really good guy.
Yeah, that's what Larry said. His few encounters with him, that's what the impression he got. So, remember, whoever NBC replaces Lester Holt with is probably going to be more like a Joy Reid than a Lester Holt.
You're not wrong.
They're not going to move towards the middle on this. All right, it is 6:51. Let's see here. What's going on here? Oh, a shooting down drug drones in the desert.
Pew pew.
Yep. Doge comes to St. Louis. And listen, if you are sick and tired of traffic moving fairly smoothly through the Del Mar Loop, we're going to fix that. We've got the schedule for when the trolleys start running again so that we can muck things up. That was with an M.
Yeah,
muck,
the M. Yes.
Muck things up. All right, let's go and dump some news on you here.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right, by the way, at 7:05, we got our friends from the Tea Party Patriots going to be with us. Going to give us kind of the take on, all right, how important is the Kash Patel Dan Bongino team? And what's next? Because I think a lot of people are like, go get the bastards, go get them. Because they went to get us. Now go get them. But there's much more at stake. So we'll talk about that right around 7:05. All right. We're now being told foreign drug cartels are using drones to fly fentanyl across the southern border into Arizona. And the state is now introducing a bill that would allow local law enforcement to take the drones down. State Attorney General Chris Maines was on Fox's America's newsroom to elaborate on what's proposed.
I'm a Democrat, but we joined with Republicans in the legislature to write a bill that would allow our local law enforcement to shoot these drones down or to disable them with what are called drone jammers.
The Attorney General says that the bill is an important tool to fight the fentanyl crisis, saying, and these are her words, half of all fentanyl seized in the United States was seized in Arizona over the last 2 years. Now, here's the thing, though. The bill also indemnifies law enforcement for any damage caused by taking out a legal citizen's drone if they thought it was a cartel drone. I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Now, if it turns out it's not, is compensation built into the directives?
Well, if they're indemnified, then I would think no.
See, and that's a big problem. Like let's say we even allow them. It's like, okay, under suspicion, you can take these drones out. If it turns out it's not a thing, I didn't want a new drone.
That's right.
Actually, I want an upgraded drone.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That mistake was yours.
I love the concept, but if you're going to blow up somebody's stuff, you better be certain that you're right as to whose it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why we have such a process to get warrants to kick in your door in the middle of the night, because what you can't do is just say, well, I don't know, he's around here somewhere. I don't know, just go start down the street kicking in doors. We don't allow that here in the country.
Right. So destroying something that belongs to somebody else should fall within at least the spirit of the idea of illegal searches and seizures.
Correct.
I'm actually surprised no one's done a parody of "I Want a New Drug" from Huey Lewis.
I want a new drone.
I want a new drone.
I want a new drone. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Hello, ChatGPT. What do you want
to say?
Uh-oh.
That's right. All right. Doge comes to St. Louis. The commission and also KMOV are reporting that Doge has canceled leases of federal field offices here in the metro area. The lease for the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency in St. Louis, and I'm talking the Missouri side of the river, has, according to Doge's website, been ended. Now, Doge says that's going to save an estimated $425,000 over what would have been the remainder of that lease agreement. So after whatever the penalties are or anything like that, they say that's still going to save over $425,000 in that particular lease. The General Services Administration building lease, which is in O'Fallon, Illinois, has also been terminated. Doge says that's going to save about $240,000.
Nice. Yeah, I'm all for getting rid of these various leases, these empty buildings, and all of those things. Yes, we need to trim down government. I'm tired of gigantic open, unused buildings that we're paying for.
Yeah. Did you see the new SBA, Small Business Administration Director Kelly? Was it Loeffler? I think her name is. She decided to do a tour of some of the offices and had the cameras. Nobody was there, making the point that, time to come back to work.
Yeah, either that or we're getting rid of these buildings.
That's right. All right. A federal judge has rejected the Associated Press's restraining order request against the Trump administration after they were denied access to press briefings and interviews with the president. Now, keep in mind, the administration barred the AP's access to the president because they keep saying Gulf of Mexico instead of Gulf of America in their reporting. So Donald Trump, be gone.
Now, of course, we're talking about special access areas. We're talking about the Oval Office. We're talking about being on Air Force One. There are limited spots there anyway. So it's not as though they are losing their press freedom level of access to the president.
They're losing some.
They're losing access.
They're losing some.
But it's not to the level of, okay, you can't be the press. They're still in the room during the press secretary's briefings.
Yeah, Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, talked about that on Hannity last night.
Covering the American presidency in the most intimate and limited spaces in this White House, in the Oval Office, on the Air Force One, is a privilege. It is not a legal right. And we want all voices to have that opportunity.
Okay, so the judge's decision is temporary, and the judge actually urged the Trump administration to reconsider the ban, saying the law is actually not on your side on this. And even Donald Trump has admitted that he's probably going to lose with this lawsuit right here. So the AP says Gulf of America doesn't align with international style because the president's executive order renaming the Gulf of Mexico is not recognized internationally. Kind of a petty reason to start a feud.
Oh, absolutely. But
to be real honest,
I like petty Trump sometimes. I'm just saying. I'll admit it.
Yeah. So, but eventually we'll see what happens. He's sending his message. We'll see what effect it has.
Is your biggest life decision just around the corner? For over 30 years, Jim Mull of Caldwell Banker Gundaker has turned real estate dreams into reality. More than just a realtor, Jim is your personal advocate, armed with unmatched market expertise and negotiating prowess. Whether you're searching for the perfect home or selling your property for top dollar, Jim and his dedicated team deliver results you can trust. Call 314-280-7878 or visit jimmole.com today.
Attention, reptile lovers. Ready to discover your next scaly friend? Welcome to the Show Me Reptile Shop, your ultimate destination for fascinating reptiles and exotic pets, with 3 convenient locations in Troy, St. Peters, and Springfield. We have an amazing selection of snakes, lizards, turtles, and more. Whether you're a seasoned herpetologist or a curious beginner, we've got the perfect pet waiting for you. Show Me Reptile Shop. Visit us in Troy, St. Peters, or Springfield, and online at showmereptileshow.com.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Have you noticed? It is tax season. We're getting all kinds of wonderful pieces in the mail every single day telling us exactly what piece of fair share we get to give of our money for 2024. Well, folks, I want to tell you, it is time to turn the page on 24 and move on to 2025 and beyond. How can we take more control of our financial future? Eliminate some of the government partnership we might have in our retirement plans. That is the subject of my upcoming workshop, Tax Freedom in Retirement. Folks, it's important. We want to try to cut the cord with the IRS. So join us. We have 2 nights to choose from. February 27th, which is a Thursday, or Tuesday, March the 4th at Liliana's Italian Kitchen in Cottleville. Visit our website for more information, SerenityWealthNow.com. That's SerenityWealthNow.com. Check out our events page.
Register at SerenityWealthNow.com. That's SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. Amit Shamath. Federal workers being given another chance to comply with a workplace accountability mandate issued by DOGE chief Elon Musk.
The Office of Personnel Management told agency leaders their workers were not required to respond by Musk's midnight deadline to detail what they did at work last week. On his social media site, Musk wrote, "Subject to the discretion of the president, they will be given another chance. Failure to respond a second time will result in termination." Elon Musk has the support of President Trump.
We have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working?
Ed Donahue, Washington.
He's putting our neighbors to the north and the south on notice. President Trump says his tariffs on Canada and Mexico will take effect next month. They had been put on hold for a while. Mr. Trump contends our trading partners have been taking advantage of us, and it's time to level the playing field. Cleaning house at the Pentagon as the military's top lawyers handed their walking papers at the direction of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
So ultimately, I want the best possible lawyers in each service to provide the best possible recommendations, no matter what, to lawful orders that are given. And we didn't think those particular positions were well suited. And so we're looking for the best. We're opening up to everybody to be able to be the top lawyer of those services.
When it comes to prospects for ending the Russian war in Ukraine, French President Macron describes President Trump as a game changer. Macron spoke following White House meeting with Mr. Trump. Macron says he's optimistic about the chances for a truce within the coming weeks. Home Depot reporting business picked up in its fiscal fourth quarter, topping Wall Street's expectations. And on Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 40 points. The NASDAQ futures are down 39 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Emily Neal's 70-inch TV. Because after watching her second-grade students yell at each other for hours, there's nothing Emily enjoys more than watching super rich housewives also yell at each other. Why? Because those women are not her responsibility. And that's why her TV is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A terrific Tuesday forecast with late February temperatures that feel a lot more like late March or early April. Mostly sunny today, an afternoon high up to 63 with a northwest wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Increasing cloudiness tonight, a mild low of 43, and then some light spotty rain showers around tomorrow, but really not a big deal here, not a soaker. And despite mostly cloudy skies, we're still mild. Tomorrow's high at 62. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Nate Lucas here for the Village Bar in the heart of Des Peres. Since 1948, the Village Bar has been the go-to destination for delicious food, cold drinks, and unbeatable atmosphere. Savor their famous wings, burgers, and onion rings, or grab a drink from their fully stocked bar. Catch all the big games and enjoy the company of their friendly staff. Plus, don't miss the 1879 Distillery, a one-of-a-kind experience right next door. The Village Bar offers the best value in town. Find the Village Bar on Facebook and come experience where history meets great times. You'll be glad you did.
At Elite Comfort Experts, they don't believe in gimmicks, just guarantees. And now they're teaming up with Amana Heating and Air Conditioning to bring you a 99-year compressor and heat exchange warranty and a 10-year parts and labor warranty on a high new efficiency HVAC system. This exclusive offer is available on qualifying systems installed before April 15th. Choose integrity and quality. Choose Elite Comfort Experts. Call Elite at 636-887-0971 or visit EliteComfortExperts.com. Mention the promo code NewsTalkSTL.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin Bob.
All right, here's where we're at. Kash is already in the boss's office at the FBI. Bongino moving in just a few weeks down the road. A lot of celebration over that.
Mm-hmm.
But the bigger question is, what's next?
Right.
Okay, what actually has to get done, and why does it matter to all of us other than go get them because they went after our guy? It's got to be bigger than that. And I think it will be. 7:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. By the way, our newsletter comes out tomorrow. If you are not subscribed to that, I'm telling you, you are missing out. Go to newstalkstl.com. You will get content that is made just for the newsletter. It is exclusive, including a weekly political cartoon from our very own Todd Showalter as well. So newstalkstl.com and sign up for that newsletter. You will not regret it at all. All right. On the Ingram angle last night, Congressman Jim Jordan was asked about the addition of Dan Bongino to the leadership team. I would say the leadership team of the FBI. Let's call it the overhaul team.
Yes.
Really, as to what's happening. Here's what Jim Jordan had to say.
Dan Bongino is a good man with experience in the New York, police department, Secret Service. He's exactly the kind of guy we need.
We're joined now by Bill Pascoe from the Tea Party Patriots. And Bill, first of all, appreciate you being on the program here. Let's set the stage here. I mean, there's a lot of celebration of what Bongino's going to bring, that hard edge, that no compromising. We know where he stands. We've carried Dan Bongino literally from day one on this radio station till now, and we'll carry him until his last day on the air. And for a lot of people, I think there's a revenge factor. They went after us. Now we've got our guys to go after them. But isn't there a much bigger picture to fix the underlying problems that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are being tasked with?
Well, Mike, first, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. You're absolutely right. And let's start with the revenge factor. When I was a kid, one of the very first things I remember my folks teaching me is that two wrongs don't make a right. The answer, it seems to me, to people who have treated you wrong is not to treat them wrong when the tables are turned, when you're in power. The proper answer is to not treat anybody wrongly. let's get back to an actual application of justice, a rule of law, where no man is above the law, but just as importantly, no man is under the law either. They shouldn't have targeted President Trump. But the proper answer now is not to come in and show them, oh, you want to see what targeting is like? We can target you too. We can politicize the Justice Department just as well as you can. No, we need to get back to an application of the rule of law for all of us, where we don't have to worry about who's running the Justice Department, because it's no longer a den of thieves. It's no longer weaponized against political opponents of the current administration. That's not what it was supposed to be. That's not what it ought to be. I don't think that's what it's going to be under Kash Patel and Dan Bongino's leadership. And that makes me feel good. Dan Bongino is not a quote unquote law enforcement bureaucrat. Think of I can only think of one deputy director whose name comes to mind that I've ever heard, frankly, and that's Andrew McCabe. And unfortunately, the reason Andrew McCabe's name comes to mind as deputy director is because of the abuse of power in which he engaged while he worked for Jim Comey. I mean, this is a guy who was so bad that when the Inspector General of the Department of Justice came to do an investigation, he lied to the IG and lost his job and his pension because of it. I mean, this guy was a couple weeks away from retiring with his pension, and the IG got him absolutely, just nailed him on lying to the IG during an investigation, and they took away his pension. That's not the kind of leadership we need at the FBI. The kind of leadership we need is what we've got now. We've got two guys at the top who are going to be committed to depoliticizing the FBI, to returning it to being the premier law enforcement agency in the world. I'm happy he's there. There is one massive problem with this we got to acknowledge, and that is who's going to fill his shoes in the conservative podcaster space, in the conservative radio space, in the conservative commentary space. Dan was chosen, if you remember, Dan was chosen to fill Rush Limbaugh's slot for a couple of years there when we lost Rush Limbaugh several years ago. Those are big shoes to fill. We'll find a way to take care of that. I'm glad he's gone to the FBI. And I look forward to the rule of law being what it's supposed to be, where it's applied equally without fear or favor to anyone.
Good morning, Bill. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So one of the challenges that I see kind of on the horizon is in doing so, in making sure that the law applies everywhere and people are held accountable for their wrongdoing, there are instances where it could very well appear to be revenge, because a lot of the wrongdoing that was perpetrated, but in weaponizing the justice system to begin with, was illegal. So it would behoove the head of the FBI to go after some of these people. How do you think they can navigate that tricky minefield in trying to apply justice equally and hold people accountable while still maintaining the nonpartisan nature of law enforcement?
Gabe, that's a great question, because you're right. A lot of what this comes down to is decision making. It's the application of resources. The fact of the matter is we don't have enough people doing those jobs to be able to properly police the entire country. There are so many drug cartels now. There are so many, frankly, all you got to do is look at the statistics from the Border Patrol over the last 4 years about the suspected terrorists who are allowed to come into the United States. There are literally hundreds of them that I think, under new leadership, under new management, under a new direction and a new vision and a new understanding of what the job is at the FBI, I think they're going to be tracking those people down. Now, what we're talking about here is decision making on the key decision is, where are we going to apply our resources? How do we get back to doing the job that the FBI is supposed to do? I think that in order to avoid the actual politicization, and we've got to distinguish here between real politicization and being attacked for politicizing. And let me flip this around and talk just for a second about a major legislative push that's going on today. The House Republicans are going to try to move their budget resolution today. Some of them are worried that, gee, if I vote for this, then my Democrat opponent next year is going to say, that guy voted to cut Medicaid, so maybe I shouldn't vote for this. Well, let me tell you, they're going to say that you voted to cut Medicaid whether you vote for it or not. You know why? Because they're Democrats, and because every 2 years they say Republicans voted to cut Medicaid. It makes no difference what the vote actually is. They're going to say it. Everybody knows it. Okay. By a similar standard, Democrats are going to say that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have weaponized the FBI. They're going to say it. Whether it actually happens or not is irrelevant. It's the Democrat playbook to complain, to say, to even, yes, I'm going to use the word, to falsely state if they have to, and I hope it is a false assertion. They're going to say that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have politicized the FBI. So it seems to me that the answer is go ahead, do your job. Know that the slings and arrows are coming for you. They're going to come after you. They're going to say this. Don't give them evidence. Don't give them a reason to say it. At least give the reporters the reason to ask a question of them and say, really? You think they've politicized it over there, Patel and Bongino? Have you got any evidence? Because that's where the argument is going to fall apart. I'm not worried about them politicizing the FBI. I'm worried for the drug cartels and the foreign terrorist organizations who are actually going to see, after having taken a break for 4 years on actually policing what they should be policing, the FBI is now going to be back in the business of proper law enforcement and counterintelligence and protecting us against foreign drug cartels that are causing literally 100,000 deaths every year in America. That's if we had put up with 100,000 deaths in 1 year in any war. Stop and think about how many people that is. That's almost twice as many people as we lost in 20 years in Vietnam. I mean, that's a mind-boggling number that we're losing to drug overdoses every year, and the vast majority of that is coming from abroad. It's not homegrown drugs. We know what it is. It's fentanyl. The vast majority of that is fentanyl that's coming through Mexico from China. The FBI is going to be all over that now. And those drug cartels are going to have a new law enforcement agency with new leaders and new leadership to contend with.
We're visiting with Bill Pascoe from the Tea Party Patriots. And Bill, I just got a minute or so left here. Okay, so cleaning up what's there now is one aspect of it. How do we inoculate the future FBI, future federal law enforcement from becoming what it became under the Biden administration?
Again, a great question. They've only got 4 years. This is a problem. You're right. There's long-term aspect to this. It goes to recruitment. It goes to training. You know, we've already seen in the armed forces, we've seen massive turnarounds in hitting recruitment goals. The first 2 months, if you count the December as a month, for recruitment goals that gets attributed to the Trump administration, because by the time we get to December, let's face it, everybody knows who won the election in November. He's not sworn into office yet until January, but I would count the December recruitment goals for the armed services. So we've got December and January to look at, and all of a sudden it's off the charts. We haven't met recruitment goals for the last several years in the armed forces, but now it looks like we're going to surpass those recruitment goals, and relatively easily if we stay on the same pace that we've been in December and January. Same thing has to happen with the FBI. We've got to have top quality recruits coming into the agency with top quality training. I'm looking forward to what's going to take place over the next 4 years as these two guys at the top rejigger policy and processes by rejiggering personnel at the FBI. It's going to be a good time to be committed to the rule of law.
All right, people want to follow what you all are doing. Website, social media. What's the best way, Bill?
TPP.org is the website. They can follow me at W Pascoe.
All right, Bill.
TPP.org is the website, or TPP TP Patriots is the social media.
All right, Bill. Appreciate you being on.
Thanks so much, Mike. Good to be with you.
All right, 314-912-1019. Guy, thoughts on that? Otherwise, far be it for me to suggest that the media gets something wrong about something happening in Jefferson City at the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
But they did get something wrong.
Okay.
And it looks like Megyn Kelly may have blown her stack a little premature.
I saw this.
Over something. Yeah. We'll bring you up to date right around 7:20 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
I've had enough of this.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, get up. Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Hey, it's Tuesday at 4:20. We'll speak with David Stokes from the Show Me Institute on the upcoming St. Louis mayoral election. And at 5:20, we'll speak with Dr. Randy Toll.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Weekdays at 4
on News Talk STL.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airwaves for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-6766. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Before we get into these, so uber important topics here, I just want to point out that it is 7:20, almost 7:21, and I have not spilled my coffee.
Yes, that's true.
That's a record for this week.
Yes,
that's the longest I've gone this week without spilling my coffee.
If we had one of those little signs like days since a coffee incident, we'd be able to take
right
it to
now.
1.
It would be 0, but it'd be 1 tomorrow.
Yeah, we're on our way towards taking it up to 1.
Right.
Mark's safe from coffee
Mark's
spill.
safe from
Yeah.
coffee spill.
Yeah, because my jeans and my shirt yesterday were not safe.
They were not safe.
Nor was the carpet in the bullpen area where I do my work. All right. Okay, so apparently Megyn Kelly got angry over nothing. She gets angry a lot, but it's usually over like something.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Now, this of course is in contrast to her absolute glee at Joy Reid losing her
Oh
show.
my goodness, yeah,
because that was a whole thing too.
Oh,
I mean, even Don Lemon had to weigh in on that because she was so happy about it.
Oh man. Let's see here. What's his face? Annoying white guy. Used to be the sports guy.
Keith Olbermann.
Keith Olbermann.
There you go.
He decided that we needed to
being known as annoying white guy.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, because he still thinks he's important. He had to weigh in with
You're right.
Social media thing and talking about how important Joy Reid is. Jeez. All right. By the way, I had somebody ask me a question about the newsletter when I mentioned a little bit ago. Yes, totally free.
Yes.
We do not need any of your information. Just where do you want us to send it? Where you want us to email it? That's it.
Right.
Completely free.
We're not going to sell your information to another 12 or 13 things that whether it's we don't like clogging your inbox.
Yep.
We just want to give you some information, some entertainment, and let you get on your way.
Right. Exactly. All right. Our podcasts, on-demand listening, that is a thing. Because I said the magic words earlier. I don't know how much longer this show is going to be on YouTube.
Yes, that's right.
Because I said ivermectin and I said hydroxychloroquine.
Yes, exactly.
So I said those. But if you get the podcast, you can always listen on your time. And also, like, there was a lot of debate over that conversation we were having with Bill Pascoe.
Oh yeah,
I got to say, I was a little surprised, but there was some people not liking what they were hearing with him. So check it out again. Let me know what you think, and you can forward that to people whether you agree or disagree or not. All right, real quick here before I get into the Megyn Kelly thing. You are not going to be able to bet on the game legally as quickly as you thought in Missouri.
Okay, because there was a law, right?
Well, Amendment 2 passed,
right,
and this one passed literally by less than 0.5%.
Very much a skin of their teeth victory for
completely
for the casinos.
The casinos and the FanDuels and all of those, they basically wrote Amendment 2.
Yes,
and bought an amendment.
Yes.
Now, personally, I don't care whether you bet on the game or not, or bet on March Madness. I don't care.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me. I don't like the fact that the special interest literally bought part of the state constitution.
That's my major heartburn.
Right. Which goes back to why initiative petition reform is crucial. But either way, it's not the end of the world to me that Amendment 2 passed. I will tell you, I voted against it, even though my libertarian in me says, you want to bet on the game? Bet on the game. I don't care. I'm not really a gambler. I have thrown in on the March Madness pool a number of times, which I guess technically was illegal in Missouri.
Yeah, so many offices have been doing the quote unquote illegal pools for forever now.
Whatever. But the media is reporting here, Missouri sports betting delayed after Secretary of State Hoskins rejects emergency rules. Okay, so here's how they're framing it.
Okay.
They're framing it that Denny Hoskins, the new Secretary of State, is basically pushing it back and delaying it and not letting you bet on the game.
Okay, so it's big bad man over there won't let you have fun with sports.
Big bad man in the red sport jacket, which is his thing. Okay, so that's not actually the case. So the way that it was written and the way that a lot of these amendments are done is once it's approved, then there is an implementation process.
Okay.
That happens, and there are hearings, and then there are, regulars. Okay, what's this mean? All this. So there's this generally boring, mundane process.
Sure.
And by the amendment itself, it's supposed to take effect December 1st.
Okay.
So there's lead time on this. Well, basically what happened is, Major League Baseball and MLS and, and the NFL, and they all want a piece of their action, man. They get a cut of all of this.
Well, they helped finance the campaign, I'm sure.
So
they run a return on their
Fred
investment.
Bird and Louie both, delivered petitions literally in the mascot costumes. I'm actually not making that up. They really did.
That happened.
So they wanted, basically they wanted it to be declared an emergency so that you could start betting right away.
Okay, in spite of not being done with the implementation process, as it were.
And so Denny Hoskins, basically what he said is, there's no emergency because you can't legally bet on the game. The thing says December 1st right here. I'm just going to let the process. I'm going to let the process play out.
Wait, okay. So so I'm clear on it, and just so our listeners are clear, the December 1st is the implementation date. December 1st of 2025.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So you shouldn't be, according to the law, be allowed to bet until then.
Right. That's the way it was written.
But some organization was asking for an emergency implementation so you could do it next week.
Well, or at least by the time the season rolls around. I mean, because you're talking about an entire Major League Baseball season. You're looking at basically an entire MLS season. MLS is soccer for normal people. It's we have a team here. They wear pink uniforms and whatever they do. And
then the biggie's March Madness.
March Madness, right?
Okay.
And so
they're saying, hey, we got to get we have an emergency. March Madness is coming.
Oh my, it's almost here.
I got money burning a hole in my pocket.
Yes.
Let me bet on it. That's what they're saying. That's the emergency.
Essentially.
And we don't want you going to Kansas or Illinois or some other place. We want you to do it here.
Yes.
And the news framing is that big bad
Denny Hoskins
is saying, no sports betting for you evil gamblers.
Right. Yeah.
As opposed to just let the law play out.
Now, when Denny was in the Senate, when the Secretary of State was in the Senate, he was opposed to sports gambling. So that may very well, but his argument is solid.
The law says
this is
December
the way
1st.
It was written. It's not an emergency that you can't place a bet right now at the casino.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I were writing, if I was in the editorial board on, for the journalists that are covering the story, and they said, okay, how do we frame this? I'm like, you frame it as crazy people trying to say it's an emergency that they can't bet on sports in March,
right?
When the law says December. That's actually the framing.
That's it. Yeah.
My goodness.
I think they just all kind of assumed like, hey, we sunk tens of millions of dollars into this. We expect a return on our investment.
Like right now.
And the guy's like, well, we're just going to do it the way that the voters approved it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You wrote the thing anyway.
Right.
Why didn't you say March?
Yeah. Oh, good Lord. Yeah. And that's not to say, I mean, listen, I think you should be able to bet on the game.
Sure. Yeah, whatever.
Is the state going to lose out on a bunch of money? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. But that doesn't mean it's an emergency.
It's not an emergency.
Right. All right. Real quick here. We mentioned this yesterday. Because Megyn Kelly went on kind of a rant on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Because she said the Philadelphia Eagles, were not going to go to the White House to meet with Trump for being the Super Bowl champions. And we were looking around and I'm like, ooh,
when did that happen?
Yeah. And because we said here, I said, if that's true, well, it turns out it's not true.
It's not true.
Yeah. So just to clarify here, and Stell found this story and sent that over overnight. By the way, when do you sleep, Stell?
Yeah, seriously.
My life's a bunch of naps.
Oh my goodness.
Series of naps.
And so essentially the report just started on social media and there was a kerfuffle, because that's a fun word to
That's
say,
another one. Yeah.
over the Eagles not refusing to go to the White House to meet with Donald Trump.
Now, I'll give her a little bit of grace on this
Yeah.
because her husband, Doug, is a Philly native.
Yeah.
And a huge Eagles
Apparently
fan.
big fan, yeah.
So he may have influenced
Yeah.
her perspective
So
on it.
he might have heard it,
Yes.
ranted at home, and
Yeah.
she's like, you guys pissed off my husband,
That's
so now
right.
you're going to catch it.
And so she lit up social media
Yeah.
on this, as
Right.
Megyn Kelly can do.
Mhm.
And by the way, I like Megyn Kelly.
I
Don't get me
do
wrong,
too.
I do. But so all the media outlets are like going to the White House and going to the Eagles, and the Eagles are like, we haven't received the invitation. The White House says, yeah, that's a summer thing.
Right.
We haven't sent it out yet.
Right. We
And
got
then
other
the-
things to do.
And
right
then
now.
the Eagles said, if we get invited, we're going to the White House to meet with the president,
Okay.
because that's what you, I
That's
mean,
what
it's
you
like
do.
they're basically like shrugging. They're like,
It's like,
yeah,
I don't know where
gonna
that came from.
Where did that come from? Now, I think there have been some rumors that Donald Trump, is that, that he might end that tradition altogether,
Oh,
meeting
okay.
with the championship teams.
Interesting.
You know what? That's not, he likes going to the games. I mean, just,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
can't see him doing that.
why not? I mean, you know what? If you win the championship, it's a fun photo op. It's the president. Doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. Just go meet with the president.
Yeah.
Get your picture taken. Enjoy the White House. Enjoy some free food at my expense. Whatever.
That's one of the norms I would like to see come back. Right? Is the idea that we can unite on sports. It doesn't
Right.
matter. It doesn't matter which team
Well,
won.
as long as it's not the Cubs.
I knew that was coming out.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter which team won, and it doesn't matter who's in the White House. When the championship happens, they meet and they have a party like that.
Right.
That used to be the tradition. That used to
Right.
be sort of the unity aspect of that whole thing. But it became politicized really quickly,
Right.
and then now it's a weird thing,
Well,
and I don't like
I
it.
kind of feel bad. I mean, assuming that the reporting we're getting now is accurate.
We're right, because we're not even
The
sure if
Eagles
that's
are
accurate.
over here like,
Oh, no.
can we just enjoy our Super Bowl win?
We just won it.
We didn't say no. Just don't be mad at us. Let us do our thing.
Can you repeat yourself? But quieter, because I still have a hangover from the party that,
Right.
that I just got.
And that was a month ago.
That was a month ago.
Oh, geez. All right. Speaking of sports teams, everything. Could we in St. Louis be asked or forced to pay to build a stadium or stadiums, stadia, in Kansas City? Yeah, this might affect us. And of course, and if we're asked to do that, then somebody in St. Louis is going to say, "Hey, we want some of that too," and it's kind of a bad cycle. So let's get the update on that. What's happening right here in St. Louis and in Missouri? Right around 7:36. We got some Larry Connors coming your way.
Yeah, Larry's coming up with a look at what Captain America and Jane Fonda have in common.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A terrific Tuesday forecast with late February temperatures that feel a lot more like late March or early April. Mostly sunny today, an afternoon high up to 63 with a northwest wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Increasing cloudiness tonight, a mild low of 43, and then some light spotty rain showers around tomorrow, but really not a big deal here, not a soaker. And despite mostly cloudy skies, we're still mild. Tomorrow's high at 62. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chase.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Have you seen the latest Disney movie, Captain America, Brave New World? I'm betting if you did, you had no trouble getting great seats. This latest Disney grooming syndicate movie is a bust, just like two previous Disney hero stories, all pushing woke agendas. The audience might go the first weekend, but then the second weekend, the audience drops off almost 80%. They get the idea, this is propaganda, not entertainment. The only entertainment would be the popcorn. So right now, a lot of folks are realizing Disney has sold out. They've gone so woke. And yet, over the weekend at the SAG Life Achievement Honor Awards, they were told you need to remain woke. The Screen Actors Guild is for those who make it on the big screen, not the little TV screen. I mean, you got to be a movie star. Actress Jane Fonda won the SAG Life Achievement Honor. And she made a point in her speech to defend woke and encourage Hollywood, Disney, are you listening, to continue to pursue an anti-Trump agenda. She said, you can't give in. Woke is showing you give a damn about other people. Right.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Tim Jones here with a reminder. Winter is the perfect time to obtain an expert evaluation of all your trees, shrubs, your biggest assets for safety, health, or maybe even removal. Hanson's Tree Service, locally owned and operated, not only can consult with you on the exact services you need, but during the winter months, you might even save more money. Keep their emergency number handy in case you need it. Emergency removal anytime over the winter months. Hanson's Tree Service, 636-379-1830, hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Attention off-road enthusiasts. Iron Bear Customs has the strongest bumpers on the planet. Plus, brush guards, lift kits, and custom cages for all vehicles. Visit ironbearcustoms.com and mention News Talk STL for 10% off. Iron Bear Customs, built tough for the toughest terrain.
Discover Patriot Powder Coating, your family on specialist in Pacific. From small jobs to big projects, we got you covered. Visit our showroom or call 636-551-0377. Mention News Talk STL for 10% off.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have a great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke. News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Please come now. I think I'm falling.
All right, will we, meaning those of us here in St. Louis, be forced to subsidize sports stadiums in Kansas City? Voters over there, by the way, were asked to raise taxes on themselves.
Right.
to build new stadia, and they said no. Yeah,
as they should.
Yeah. So what's next here? It seems like about once every, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years, we have this pop up in the Show Me State. I don't know how many other states deal with this, but in the Show Me State, there's always something popping up about once a decade where we're like, well, we got to invest.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's a bit the same in Illinois with the Chicago teams.
Yeah.
With the Cubs considering moving to Arlington Heights or staying down at Wrigley Field. Are the Sox going to move? Do they get a new stadium or did they go to Florida? You know,
I'm surprised the White Sox haven't been run out of Chicago with a pitchfork after losing 100 whatever games last year.
They're already out of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that's right. They're still spring training and they've been eliminated. That's right.
Man, every 10 years.
Something like that.
Yeah,
8, 9, 10 years.
You're about right. Every decade, they're like, we need a new stadium. It's like, how long are these buildings built to last?
Right. Yeah.
What are you doing?
All right. Don't forget News Talk STL's app. We are going to be launching the updated version like anytime now. So if you've already got it, it should automatically update.
Right.
Or you may get, if you're on an Android, I think you might have to press the thing to give it permission to update.
Right.
You definitely want to do that.
And if you don't got it, what are you even doing?
Yeah, get it.
Get it. Absolutely.
Oh, and one other one was the Bears. I'm sorry, I forgot to remember.
That's
That's a big hubbub.
Oh, yeah.
About the Bears.
I mean, how many times have they rebuilt Soldier Field?
Exactly.
Yeah. Soldier Field doesn't look anything the way it looked back in the early days.
Jetsony now.
Yeah. All right. So basically, but it's economic development. You can't expect those billionaires to pay for their own stuff. We're joined now by Patrick Tuohey from the Show Me Institute. Good blog that he wrote called "Missouri Must Protect Taxpayers from Sports Subsidies." And so, regardless of whether we're talking like Stell was talking about there, Patrick, with the Bears or the White Sox or whoever. Every once in a while, the principles and the concepts are the same. The argument's going to be, in this case, but the Cardinals, the Royals and the Chiefs are threatening to go across the state line and into Kansas, and we just can't lose them. And so I know the lawmakers there don't want to be the ones running for re-election if they lose the world champions or former world champions out there. So I get the emotional appeal, but let's talk about that protecting taxpayers part of this.
Sure. Well, taxpayers need protection, and for decades, and you gentlemen are right, it's not just Missouri. Every state in the country that has a professional team at some point wrestles with this, and yes, it seems like every 10 years they're asked to wrestle with it again. And there are plenty of ways that we as taxpayers subsidize these billionaire ballparks, but I have to say, it's our own fault. We have set up the rules. We have set up the incentives. We have fallen for every claim over the years. And so if you were a ball team owner, you would be a fool not to ask for subsidies because the public has said yes for so long.
Good morning, Patrick. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So how real are the threats? Because, the suggestion is, oh, no, we're going to lose the ballpark, or we're going to lose the ball team. They're going to go to another town, and we're going to lose all kinds of millions and billions of dollars in economic activity. How real is that?
Okay, so there are at least two questions there. The first is, how often do teams pick up and leave? And certainly you can find all sorts of examples of teams that have left. But what attracts teams are being in good markets. And so the first duty of any municipal leader is to make your city a good market. And if you do, hotels, restaurants, convention centers, developers will come to your city. Just subsidizing those amenities and making your town look like it's economically vibrant when it isn't does not work. We can talk about Baltimore if you want as a perfect example. But the other question is, what is the economic impact of having these stadia? Certainly, it is a boost to a city's ego, perhaps, or their self-image to have a team, but the economic impact are nil. And I can explain it to you briefly. Let's say somebody builds a new grocery store across the street from your house. You may go to the new grocery store, but you will not also go to the previous grocery store you went to. You only have so many dollars. And so adding or subtracting an entertainment choice from your city does not put more money in your pocket. It just gives you one more choice. So when a team shows up, there is no great economic impact because people simply divert their spending from bowling or dinner or movies to go see the game. And likewise, when a team leaves, people just spend that money differently. We are told time and again that teams drive economic development. It isn't true. Evidence 1 and 2 are St. Louis and Kansas City. We have seen that areas around stadia don't grow necessarily. And so, again, we are made this romantic claim, but the numbers, the economics, just don't substantiate it.
Good morning, Patrick. Stalponticus here. So I'm guessing you've done the research on this, and I know this is going to hurt some people to think about it and talk about it. But what about the economic impact of the Rams coming from LA and then returning to LA? I'm sure you guys have done some research on how that impacted downtown St. Louis while they were here.
So again, what happened in St. Louis is people just changed their behavior. Now, perhaps you could say people who would not otherwise have come into St. Louis for a game did so. But the cost to the public associated with subsidizing a stadium means that those benefits were wiped out by the cost. And for example, if you come home at the end of the shift and your spouse has a new car in the driveway, you don't just think to yourself, oh my gosh, free car, this is great. One of your first questions might be, what did you pay for this? Is it worth the investment? We never seem to ask that question when it comes to ballparks. And the research is very clear from left, right, and center. The investment is not worth the return. I know romantically we love to cheer for that team, but we've got to understand it is only romantic and not economic.
He's going to make Fred Bird sad there. We're visiting with Patrick Tuohey from the Show Me Institute. All right, Patrick, you just got a minute or so left here. What is it, at least in the early discussions, that the lawmakers are hinting at or outright asking for? I mean, what is it they want the state to subsidize and do, so we know what we're looking at as far as how to at least talk about it and try to push back?
Yeah. So again, those are great questions. We don't exactly know. I think the state of Missouri nets around $60 million from having the Truman Sports Complex, the two teams there a year. The city makes, I want to say, around 12. The county funded it through a sales tax. I think the county would love to have the state and the city chip in more so that the burden falls less on the county. But again, we haven't seen term sheets. We get all these hints of a conversation, but we don't have the actual conversation.
Yeah. So we know they're going to ask for something. And then what happens is other cities, the lawmakers say, well, if you want us to pay for that, then here's something that I want in my district. You know, Busch Stadium needs improvements. We want something subsidized. We want a new stadium for a football team. We want, Springfield with John Q. Hammond stuff. So what happens is you get this side of kind of cycle of big spending around the state when all the deal making is made. At least that's how I remember it happening the last time, about 12 years ago, Patrick, something like that.
Yeah, well, it's not just where you put the stadium, it's where you put the practice fields, it's where you invest other money, it's the other businesses that a team might own, the hotels, the bars that they want to benefit. It really, at the end of the day, is just a program to make wealthy people even wealthier. And again, I applaud them for being successful, but it shouldn't be on the backs of taxpayers.
All right, and we find the blog post where, Patrick?
You can find us at showmeinstitute.org. I've written a lot about a stadium and stadium subsidies over the years, and it's right there on the first page.
Good talk to you, Patrick. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Patrick.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Take care.
All right. 314-912-1019. I'm a big sports guy.
Yeah.
But I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Taxpayers should not be funding this.
Not
And
at all.
not only Show Me Institute, but you can look, like Patrick said, for some leftist ones. The Heartland Institute has been studying this for probably 20 years. And they have shown over and over and over again exactly what Patrick said. If I don't go to a Cardinals game, but I want to go out and do something with entertainment, I'm going to go do something else. I'm not going to say, not going to go to the Cardinals game. I think I'll take that $75 and set it on fire.
Yeah.
It's not what we do.
The dollars move.
Right. Yep. All right. You ever feel that pressure weird, completely useless, nonsensical pressure to like some things that you just don't like, but it's cool and it's trendy. All right, going around the room, some questions, kind of get to know the guys here right around 7:50.
I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
It's probably too early to mention Flashback Friday and sending in those requests, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to mention Flashback Friday and that you can put in your request for 80s Bump Music now, so we're not going to do that, guys.
Good idea. Don't do it.
We're not going to mention Flashback Friday yet. Or that we would be looking for the suggestions.
No.
All right. The internet was asked something, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because this one I found on BuzzFeed. You ever been in that situation where somebody's like, oh, man,
really excited about
I love this thing. And like the pressure is to say, oh, yeah, that's great. I love it. And for some reason, there's a social pressure, which means nothing to anybody. And we never go, no, I think that sucks. So get this.
Or at the very least, overrated.
Right. Or it's overrated. So what's a food that most people just love, but you actually hate? But you almost, because we've got this bizarre thing to where if you go, no, I think that sucks. People are like, what? What's wrong with you?
Right. Yeah. Now, look, I will react that way if you say anything about Chick-fil-A. That's Jesus chicken.
Say
right
those
there.
that's Jesus's chicken. Those are God's calories.
That's God's calories and everything. Yeah,
6 days a week.
That's the archangel fries. So look,
and the lemonade.
I just had Chick-fil-A last night too. So
there you go.
Like they have the limeade right now. So
oh my gosh.
Okay, so here's the thing: is that they asked the question, "What is a food that most people love, but you hate?" And I've got the top 5 answers, and very few people are like willing to say, I really just can't stand that. I don't like that.
Now, for me, because I am the quintessential omnivore, I eat everything and will eat almost anything. Hate is a strong word for me because it's like it's food. I'll eat it.
Right.
But there are things that if I had a choice of an alternative,
right? No, we're talking like you really don't like that, but everybody around you says this is awesome, and you get this weird social pressure.
Yeah.
Number 5, and see, I'm not wild about this. I kind of ramen.
Yeah.
Now there's real ramen like at the Asian restaurants.
Yes.
And then there's the thing you buy for 10 cents that got me through college for
The
a couple
dormitory
years.
ramen.
Yeah,
the
dormitory ramen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, and ramen's become a really big deal these days because a lot of restaurants are popping up. They're actually, and they're like traditional ramen, like you're saying.
Yes,
you know,
the
where
real
it's,
ramen.
It's it actually had they actually deal with the broth in a real way. It's not just powder and water. like what you had in your dormitory ramen. So yes, real ramen can be really good. I think though people have made a really, really big deal about it.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. I can't stand. I really can't stand ramen anymore, just because
the association.
Well, it's not even that. It is that they're so full of sodium that I feel awful minutes after eating
your body
because there's so much salt on there.
It is very salty.
Now, here's this. I don't get this. Number 4. 4% of people absolutely hate burritos.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
No, there's something wrong with you. There's absolutely something wrong with you if you hate burritos. Well, and because it's all of the awesome foods wrapped in an easily portable, edible wrapping.
Yes, and you can put anything you want there.
And put anything, and then you can dip it in other things.
Yes,
like you could dip it in guac. You could dip it in cheese sauce. Sour cream. Yeah.
Salsa.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
4% of the people have something wrong with them.
4%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hence the social pressure that I'm talking about. Gabe's delivering it.
Yes, absolutely. Social pressure from Gabe today.
Number 3. Also, I think 4% of people hate everything. 4% of people say I absolutely hate popcorn.
Popcorn. Okay. You know what? I might give it to you just because popcorn doesn't taste as good as it smells.
I would go along with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? Because you have to add the butter, you have to add the salt in order for it to taste like anything.
And there's kind of a big difference between the good and the bad stuff.
That's also true. And I think it's dependent on how it's cooked and what what the medium is
okay.
Cooked in.
Real quick here, because I just got a minute or so. Steve, what's a food that everybody says we're supposed to love, but you just can't stand?
Yeah, I don't hate it, but mac and cheese, I do not understand the cult.
Whoa.
Drive me nuts.
Oh, man.
Okay, here's the thing. I love me some mac and cheese, but I understand his point.
Yeah.
Because it's like the bacon cult also.
Yeah.
I love bacon, but now they got to wrap everything in it, and you got to you get served a pile of it. And then they put bacon in your mac and cheese. And look, I'm eating it. It's delicious. But people are going to go absolutely nuts about it.
Hey, Steve, appreciate you being on, man. Okay, so getting some... Okay, let's see. By the way, 101 Straight Up says, I've never had sushi, but I ate samshi once. Terrible. Sushi was number 2. 18% of people say can't stand it. Okay, so Amy on Rumble has chosen violence.
Oh, okay.
She's chosen violence.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, she says, I hate toasted Rav.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh my God! that's throwing down the freaking gauntlet. You just crossed the Rubicon, lady.
Now, here's an interesting one. Ruthie says goat cheese.
Goat cheese. Okay,
I like goat cheese.
Now I've had goat cheese once or twice, and it's okay. I mean,
if it's in the right spot,
it's in. Yeah, exactly. So
we'll see. Speaking of cheese, I always have to deal with this every time we go out to eat. Kathy loves blue cheese. So she's always getting blue cheese dressing, and the waitress will look at me and she'll say, "Blue cheese for you too?" No. Sorry, the only time I like blue cheese is with raspberry vinaigrette dressing.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only time I like
on
it.
a salad.
Yes.
Yeah, on a salad. Now there's a couple burgers, like a black and blue burger.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good.
You're right.
I like that.
Yep.
But here's a fun 5% of the people who answered this say they hate cheeseburgers.
5% of people are sociopaths.
1 out of 20 people in this country say they hate cheeseburgers.
The cheeseburger is like the quintessential American food. It's also delicious. There's something wrong with 5% of people.
Maybe they're vegans.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you know what? You're right.
All right, real quick. Any foods that everybody says is terrible, but you actually like?
Terrible.
That you'll admit to?
You know what? If it's prepared properly, Brussels sprouts can be really delicious.
Yes, that's true.
Yes,
absolutely true.
Because they're really bitter otherwise. If you get it wrong, it's and it's real easy to get it wrong. But if you get it right, delicious.
Absolutely. I am going to cop to. I like black licorice.
Oh,
now I
cool.
like 6 candy things.
Specifically 6 of
After
them.
that, I'm
It's
done.
too much. It's too
But
much.
I don't think that's bad at all. And I'm going to go out because nobody can yell at me on the air about this. Yes, I think pineapple on pizza is good.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yay!
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you for taking my call. Thank you very much for taking my call. Every day, something new. No one else is really talking about this. I'm glad you're fired up about it, too. Trump's doing the right thing. You know, there's so many issues. It's over. I think you're politically wrong.
Very upset.
I will have to agree with you. You're one of the sweetest guys in the world. For a guy who's so bad on politics.
101.9 and 94.1.
Your platform is like really, really important to us.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
Turning 65 soon? Medicare decisions don't have to be overwhelming. Hi, I'm Debbie Westhoff with Westhoff Agency. We have helped hundreds of people just like you navigate Medicare options. Let me, Debbie Westhoff, be your personal Medicare guide, walking you through each choice to find the coverage that truly fits. Don't leave your healthcare decisions to chance. Call me at 636-500-1843 or visit us at westoffagency.com. Westhoff Agency is your trusted Medicare partner. That's westoffagency.com.
Tony Colombo here for the Farmers Co-op Old Town Country Store in Old Town St. Peters, where they have a huge selection of products and services for your yard and home, including a full line of lawn and garden products, a full line of products for animal care, and that includes anything from livestock to the family dog or cat. They'll fill any size propane tank for about half the price of a new one, and so much more. Visit them in St. Peters on 2nd Street, right behind the QT at 70 and Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, and check out all their products and services at oldtowncountrystore.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. In Dallas, Texas today, over 5,000 Christian broadcasters and faith leaders from all over the world are gathered for the start of the annual National Religious Broadcasters Conference. One of those on hand is Larry Ross, whose Dallas Public Relations Agency is today marking its 30th anniversary in business. Says the secret of his agency's success is to always keep the focus on Jesus.
This is not about us. It's not about our agency. It's about God's faithfulness over 30 years and having a front row seat on what he did through all the clients we serve. We've represented over 2,300 clients during that time. And basically what we've done is just suit up and show up. Whenever possible, we lift up the name of Jesus, let God do the rest.
Featured speakers at NRB will include nationally prominent pastors such as California's Jack Hibbs and Texas-based Dr. Robert Jeffress, pro-life activist Abby Johnson, and many others as the 2025 National Religious Broadcasters Conference continues throughout this week in Dallas. The AP loses its initial bid to strike down new limits on its White House access.
A judge refused to immediately reverse the White House restrictions, but did set an expedited hearing date for March. The AP filed suit last week over access that was blocked when the wire service refused to use the term Gulf of America in its widely used style book. The AP calls the new restrictions on its access a targeted attack on its editorial independence. White House press official said the AP has the right to engage in what he called irresponsible and dishonest reporting, but no guaranteed right to special access to the president. Bob Agnew reporting.
That big, beautiful bill, as President Trump calls it, is nearing a vote in the House. A vote on the GOP budget bill that would advance the Trump agenda could come later today. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, Dow futures are up 96 points. NASDAQ futures down 16. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Face it, the world is uncertain these days, but there's something reassuring about holding on to what lasts, like the 2025 1-ounce gold eagle from the U.S. Mint, a symbol of American strength and an asset that stands the test of time. You can trust gold and you can trust Global Coin. Call 888-800-1045 to secure this magnificent gold coin, graded in pristine MS-70 condition for the dealer cost of $2,999. Free shipping, no sales tax. This is your chance to own a piece of history while building a foundation of enduring value. And it gets even better. Global Coin is giving the first 100 callers a free MS70 2025 Silver Eagle to complement your 1 ounce Gold Eagle. 2 iconic coins, a symbol of prosperity and a testament to the enduring value of gold and silver. Global Coin backs every purchase with a 30-day return policy, ensuring your peace of mind. Visit globalcoindeal.com or call 888-800-1045. No gimmicks, incredible coins at incredible prices. Again, that's 888-800.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A terrific Tuesday forecast with late February temperatures that feel a lot more like late March or early April. Mostly sunny today, an afternoon high up to 63 with a northwest wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Increasing cloudiness tonight, a mild low of 43, and then some light spotty rain showers around tomorrow, but really not a big deal here, not a soaker. And despite mostly cloudy skies, we're still mild. Tomorrow's high at 62. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
When you've been hurt in an accident, you need a law firm that wins. Onder wins. For over 100 years, Onder Law has been winning for St. Louis. With over $5 billion in negotiated settlements and over $300 million in verdicts, Onder wins. Voted best law firm by STL Today 2 years in a row, Onder wins. Whether it's settlements, verdicts, or awards, Onder wins. If you've been hurt in a car accident, trucking accident, or hurt on the job, Onder Law will get you the money you deserve. At Onder Law, winning is what we do. So when the stakes are high, Onder wins. Call us today for a free consultation. We don't get paid unless we win for you. Dial 314 or 6189-million. That's 314 or 6189, then all zeros. Or visit us online at onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I think we started something on Rumble.
Oh, we sure did.
Yeah. There's some foodie talk going on.
Oh, yes.
People are inviting each other over for dinner. This is great.
Oh, yeah. And the spicy opinions are being shared all over as well.
Some folks mentioned sauerkraut, and our boss Jeff comes in, and I don't like sauerkraut.
I'm not a sauerkraut.
Jeff loves it.
I'm with Jeff. I'm all over the sauerkraut. Yeah. Man, a properly dressed hot dog with the sauerkraut and all of the other things, all the other accoutrements, loaded dog. Oh my gosh.
It's funny. You mentioned blue cheese for the list of people who say I actually kind of secretly love blue cheese when everybody tells me I'm not supposed to like it. That was number 2. 27% of people say I really love blue cheese, but I feel like people tell me I shouldn't have to do that.
Right. Blue cheese actually is tasty.
Yeah.
But it can be so strong. I think people kind of have, an aversion to it also. Yeah.
Yep. All right. It is 8:06 right now. Just a few things that are happening here. We're going to bring you up to date on shooting down drug drones in the desert. Also, Doge comes to St. Louis. And don't worry, if you are tired of traffic flowing just too smoothly on the Del Mar Loop, we now know, and that's going to be clogged up again.
Don't worry, we'll take care of it.
That's right. Thanks to the trolley boondoggle. That, like I said, 8:06. Let's dump some news on you here.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
All right. The Trump administration, as you've heard, hires Dan Bongino to be deputy FBI director and serve second in command to new FBI director Kash Patel, who, by the way, Kash Patel is now also the interim director of the ATF.
Yeah. And that suggests to me that it's a temporary side gig while you dismantle this.
Yes.
Thing. That's what that sounds like to me.
That's what I kind of hope is going to be the case. Republican Congressman Jim Jordan was on Fox as the Ingram angle to talk about Bongino being added to the leadership team in general.
Dan Bongino is a good man with experience in the New York, police department,
Secret Service. He's exactly the kind of guy we need.
See, I'm not even sure that I want to call it the leadership team at the FBI. I really think that this is more of an overhaul team.
Yes. I think their job definitely is to be change agents,
right,
for that whole organization.
Yep. All right. Foreign drug cartels are using drones now to fly fentanyl across the southern border through the border into Arizona. The state's introduced a new bill that would allow local law enforcement to take the drones down. State Attorney General Chris Mays was on Fox's America's Newsroom to elaborate on what they're trying to change and allow law enforcement to do.
You know, I'm a Democrat, but we joined with Republicans in the legislature to write a bill that would allow our local law enforcement to shoot these drones down or to disable them with what are called drone jammers.
All right. The Attorney General, once again, the Attorney General Chris Mays of Arizona, says that half of all the fentanyl seized in the United States was seized in Arizona over the last 2 years.
Man.
Here's the only caveat to this.
Mhm.
I love everything I'm hearing about this.
Yes.
Except the bill would basically give blanket immunity to law enforcement for any damage caused by taking out a legal citizen's drone if they think, well, that might be a drug drone, shoot it down.
Just in
And it
case.
might be some guy who's just trying to look for coyotes and also illegals on his ranch.
Right. Yeah, and that's my major issue too.
Yeah.
Because look, if you knock on the wrong door and you break down my door jam and all that stuff,
Right.
pay for it.
Right.
If you accidentally shoot down my drone, especially because these we're not talking like the hobby drones you
Right.
can get at a toy store. The drones that ranchers and farmers and those guys with a lot of land use, those are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So my goodness, not only do I want a new drone, I want a better drone.
There you go.
if
Yeah.
you're going to shoot it down by quote unquote by accident.
I am absolutely on board with taking down, the fentanyl things, but you better make sure.
Absolutely.
You
And
better
by
make
the way, this is a good problem to be having right now.
Yeah,
That-
follow up on that. Yeah.
Because it used to be, hey, I'm just going to load up these kids with a backpack full of my drugs and send them across the border. I'm going to have this person that I'm trafficking carry my drugs in, on their person
Or in their person.
in their person sometimes. Yes, absolutely. And that's how I'm going to get. But now the flow of people is been
Down to a
reduced to
trickle.
such a trickle that they have to find creative technological ways to get their poison into America. So I'm glad to have this particular problem.
Yep, exactly. All right, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, we talked about this last week, ordering all agents in her department be subjected to polygraph tests in an effort to combat information leaks. Secretary Noem was on Hannity on Fox last night, saying the tests have been successful, and she's giving a warning to anybody else who's thinking about sharing information.
I have found some leakers. We are continuing to get more. They will be fired. There will be consequences. And remember, when they leak information to the press in order to blow an op, they're putting law enforcement lives in jeopardy.
Okay, so at 8:20, guys, I want to
Mhm.
follow up because now here is how radical some of these leftist activists are.
Yeah.
They are now trying to identify ICE agents, dox them, and literally tell the cartels where the ICE agents live.
Yeah.
I'm not making that up.
That's real.
Yeah. So 8:20.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Sending out photos of the ICE
yeah.
agents.
Yeah, literal
Wow.
photos of this. I mean,
Boy.
it is unbelievable. I say unbelievable. I really shouldn't say unbelievable because at this point, I think the far left is capable of all kinds of disgusting things.
Mhm.
So we'll give the update on that. All right. Doge comes to St. Louis. The commission and also KMOV are reporting that Doge has canceled leases of federal field offices in the metro area. We're talking both sides of the river here. The lease for the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency in St. Louis, and this is Missouri, according to Doge's website, has been ended. So they've terminated that lease early, I guess. Doge says that's going to save an estimated $425,000 over the remainder of the lease agreement. Usually there's a penalty for terminating a lease, so that would be after the penalty, I would think. The General Services Administration building lease, which is in O'Fallon, Illinois, has also been terminated, again, according to the Doge website. Doge says that's going to save about $240,000.
Nice.
And I suspect they're probably not done. And you're also probably looking at what's going to happen up by the airport.
Oh,
The
yeah.
geospatial thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's hundreds of millions of dollars floating around on that. And once they start looking into that, I got to think there's some people that are going to be scrambling for cover.
There may be. The Doge chainsaw continues.
Yeah, precisely. All right. You may have remembered this guy here, Vivek Ramaswamy, officially enters the race for governor of Ohio on Monday. He had already said that's what he was going to do, but he made it official on Monday, launching his campaign. Ramaswamy outlining some early campaign promises at the event, and this happened in Cincinnati.
We need to bring down the income tax eventually down to zero because you deserve to keep what you earn. It is your money, not the government's. We need to bring down property taxes in this state immediately, eventually down to zero.
Okay, so basically, if he gets elected, and I would think he's probably got to be among the Republican front runners.
Oh, gosh.
Now,
yes.
Ohio is one of the few sort of purplish states out there.
Yes.
But at the same time, if he gets that stuff done, that makes them even more competitive. So states like Missouri have to take notice. States like Tennessee have to take notice. States like Indiana have to take notice. Illinois will completely ignore it and then get its butt kicked even worse.
Oh, yes.
For competing against states like Ohio.
Yeah, well, and don't forget some of the northeastern states like New York and Pennsylvania. They might have some of their industry siphoned off by a resurgent Ohio as well. By the way, not only did Ramaswamy get Donald Trump's full-throated endorsement, upon his announcement, but there was also his discussion about reopening psychiatric facilities, and I think that's actually kind of an important thing because that has been a political landmine for a long time, and he just stepped right on it and said, "All right, bring it on."
There,
and it's pretty awesome.
I have a feeling that he's going to generate some national debate and discussion. We'll probably be talking about that more.
Corporeal. I can never get his name.
Corporeal being.
That's it. Corporeal being makes a comment about if Vivek can pull it off in Ohio, maybe I'll move there.
Wow, there you go.
There it is.
See, that's how it works.
Yeah, there it is. All right. I generally don't do sort of celebrity stuff as news. I just don't really do that.
Yeah.
But this happened last night, tragically.
Singing my life with his words, killing me softly with his song, killing me softly.
Grammy-winning singer and pianist Roberta Flack has passed away. Her publicist said she died surrounded by her family. She was 88 years old. Flack previously revealed in 2022 that she had been diagnosed with ALS, which people know as Lou Gehrig's disease. She was best known for that song, Killing Me Softly with his song, which really stands the test of time. That's going to be a classic 100 years from now.
Absolutely. And not just, her version, but also the Fugees version, which came out in 1996, was also a pretty decent cover.
It was a good cover.
But what more importantly, though, it led a lot of people to look up the Roberta Flack version. It was like, oh wow, it's like, and it's a beautiful rendition, by the way.
Yeah,
she had such a great voice,
fantastic voice. She won that Grammy in 1975.
Man,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So she's been around a long time. So I kind of quipped earlier, and Stell's the one with 50 years of experience in music radio. But I said she was kind of Whitney Houston before Whitney Houston.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
Especially in the 70s, early, mid, late 70s. For me, my college years at SLU, 70 to 75. Played the stuff a ton on the air, and she did those great duets with Donny Hathaway.
Oh yeah.
And then Donny passed away, and she moved on with her career. But great singer.
She did okay with her.
Just a little okay, yes.
All right,
I was just stunned that she was 88.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too.
But if you think about it, her first hits, usually a pop star is going to be in their mid-late 20s when they really hit. That was in the 70s.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
That makes about but it says nothing about us being older.
No,
it's all. All right, your money being wasted. All on display. The 2025 Loop Trolley schedule has been announced. The rolling money pits are going to start clogging up traffic Thursdays through Sundays. Starting on May 1st. I'm being as objective as I can as a journalist here.
It's funny because it's true.
I know. Remember, tens of millions of your tax dollars are tied up in this debacle that is, again, going to be tying up traffic on the loop. So basically, starting May 1st, Thursday through Sunday, just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just ignore the loop.
I've got it on my phone. I've got the Battlehawk schedule and the trolley schedule.
There you go. So you know where to go and where not to go.
Yes.
Exactly. All right. The Cardinals get a 7-4 spring train win over the Mets on Monday. Luke and Baker and Jose Barrero had home runs. The Redbirds play the Blue Jays this afternoon at 12:07. FanDuel is actually showing the game. So that game's going to be on TV.
All right.
If you're subscribed to FanDuel. The Blues are back on home ice tonight, hosting the Kraken. That is a 7 p.m. game at Enterprise. Blues are right at 500, 26, 26, and 6.
One steep part, no destination, making cold my to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
To your indifference. Stop it right now.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Oh, hey. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin.
Bengal's restaurant offers an inviting atmosphere, neighborly service, and a vibrant happy hour scene, all in the heart of Warson Woods. From their kitchen to your plates, beloved comfort favorites like chicken parmesan and lasagna to steakhouse-style classics. Slide up to the vintage bar or hit the patio for happy hour specials every Tuesday through Friday. Bengal's Restaurant and Bar, 10017 Manchester Road. Check out the menu and reserve a table online at bengalsrestaurant.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. You know, and speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, so in the news dump, we've had coverage of what's happening with the fentanyl coming over the border with the drones.
Yep.
Obviously, Kristi Noem now trying to tamp down on leaks within her agency, within the Department of Justice.
Right. And by the way, the danger of those leaks cannot be overstated.
Right. So let's go there
Yeah.
with this, because what we now know has escalated. At first, there was the TDA cartel gang in Aurora, Colorado.
Right.
And they've been in other cities as well. And we all saw the video. We all saw the security cam footage of them taking over apartment complexes, generally low-income apartment complexes, from what it looked like.
Terrorizing the residents.
Terrorizing people, basically becoming the mafia with no class.
Right. Right.
And I understand mafia is a criminal organization, but
at least they wore suits.
But they wore suits, and they had code of honor and all this sort of thing.
And fedoras.
They're very nice fedoras.
They're classy.
And so these were just, subhuman thugs.
Yeah. Yeah. And we say that based on their actions, by
Right.
the way,
Um,
because they're the types who behead people, and they just like it's horrific things that they do to people to cow them into obedience.
Right. And they're violent, kicking indoors. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And so when ICE shows up and Department of Homeland Security shows up to go get them, the whole building's empty.
Yeah.
It's all empty. There was obviously a leak. Originally, Tom Homan thought it was the media who was leaking it, but then it turns out that it was somebody within the department who leaked it to some activist groups.
Right.
So this is escalated. It's 8:21, by the way, right now. Now left-wing groups around the country have begun to photograph the ICE agents when they're out doing their raids and doing their arrests, and looking for ways to dox them.
Yeah.
To match up their pictures. And now you've got ICE agents who are having their name, their photograph, and their home address being distributed among not just the activists, but this is going to the illegals as well.
Yeah, there are a number of sort of anti-ICE organizations.
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically just talking about these crazy left-wing liberal organizations that are out there, and their intention is to disrupt their ability to enforce the law.
And by enforcing the law, we're talking about finding illegal aliens and removing them from the country. Those are the laws we're talking about.
Right. And of course, based on the Trump and Homan directives, their focus has been on criminal, particularly, violent and the horrific sort of criminals like TDA.
TDA. Prenda
Aregua. Yeah, something like that. And so their decision is basically to side with the foreign invaders.
And by the way, this includes like MS-13.
Yeah. We're talking about the most horrific people who shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And law enforcement is trying to actually protect these communities, but they're casting ICE agents as enemies of immigrant communities.
And they're telling these violent cartels, hey, here's where the foot soldier is.
Yeah. Now, the one poster that's been making the rounds in the news, now it's all in Spanish, so there is a translation. I have a translation here. It says, "Careful with these faces," and it has a series of 6 pictures, 4 of which show the faces, and 2 which show kind of the back of these individuals with wearing their ICE jackets. And quote, "These armed agents work in Southern California. ICE and HSI, that's the Homeland Security Investigations, racially terrorize and criminalize entire communities with their policies. They kidnap people from their homes and from the streets, separating families and fracturing communities. Many people have died while locked up in jails, prisons, and detention centers," the posters say. So this is all to...
I can't say the words.
This is all to do exactly what a lot of these agencies, or these, not agencies, but a lot of these organizations have been doing, is to conflate immigrant communities, from particular areas of the world with the illegal immigrant problem that we're all concerned with, and particularly the criminal alien gangs that have been terrorizing everybody, including the immigrants, the actual legal immigrants who are allowed to be here and should be protected. So they have sided with the crazy gangs. That's what they're doing. And I would dare say that this rises to the level of treason. This isn't just, to me, this isn't just sort of the activists being activists and saying
freedom of speech, Gabe.
Look, you are interfering with the federal government protecting America from foreign invaders. That's all I see. When I see when people come across our border illegally and then do illegal things, like even more illegal and particularly violent things in our country, they are invaders. They are foreign enemies. And I think if you aid and abet them, you sided with our foreign enemy and therefore guilty of treason.
I find it interesting that Tren de Aragua shows up in major metropolitan markets.
You're the only one here who can say that.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is, Hispanic radio stations in those markets are going out of their way at certain times to let folks know, hey, if you have any information about where ICE agents might be, let us know and we'll pass it on. It's interesting.
It's wild.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, because there's, like, for instance, I keep thinking the most high profile case I think of was in Maplewood, where there was a left-wing church down there, and they had an illegal that they had basically given shelter to.
A couple of years, wasn't it?
It was
3 years?
like 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know where that guy is now. And then that was like their big social justice warrior-y, cause. And there are court cases, like right now, there's a court that's ruled against the Trump administration when Trump says, no, if we know that there's an illegal alien, we'll go into a church, we'll go into some place like that. And so now there's a legal back and forth on that sort of thing. But you've got that aspect of it, because that guy, by all accounts, was not a violent gang member.
Sure.
He was here illegally,
which is a felony.
Right. So he was, but that's not what we're talking about in this case. We're talking about Americans or people in America who are going out of their way to put law enforcement lives in danger in order to protect violent, well-known criminal gangs.
Yes.
And then still lying, saying, well, what they're trying to do is get little, old Auntie Maria, who works at the restaurant and has, illegally for all these years. That's now she's subject to be picked up and deported too if she's here illegally. But that's not what we've seen from Noam, from Homan, from Trump. in this case. What we have seen is them saying we are prioritizing literally the illegal gangs. Now, the left wing knows that once they get through running off the violent gangs, they're still going to be looking for illegal aliens.
Oh yeah, the rest are still on the agenda there.
So if you make it harder to find the criminals, the violent criminals, and you make the battlefield a little more level for the bad guys to attack the good guys and go after the good guys, you're in essence helping to protect the other people committing the crimes of illegal immigration.
A spokesman for the Department of Homeland Security said these pathetic activists are putting targets on the backs of our law enforcement as they shield MS-13, Tren de Aragua, and other vicious gangs that traffic women and children, kidnap for ransom, and poison Americans with lethal drugs. These individuals will be held accountable for obstructing the law and justice. This shouldn't be controversial.
Yeah.
I'm glad consequences are coming. I hope all of those activists find themselves in the same jail with all the illegals that they helped shield.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Just for the fun of it.
All right.
I'm sure this is what the ACLU is going to argue.
Mhm.
And I'm sure this is what some of the Latino left-wing activist groups are going to say. They're going to say, no, we got a right to free speech. If we find out something, we got a right to say it. You may not like it, but we're not saying go attack. We're just saying be careful. They're here. Don't go there.
Yeah. Well, I still stand by my statement that this is aiding and abetting of a foreign adversary.
Yeah.
And that is not protected free speech, by the way. You can't say, okay, I'm going to let let's say we were invaded by Canada. So
I like our chances.
I like our chances.
I'm just saying.
But it's like, so hey, for all the moose riders out there, be on the lookout for patrols that are moving on, West 42nd Street in Milwaukee or whatever. That is aiding and abetting an enemy. It's like, hey, I'm just saying something true.
Yeah.
I'm using my free speech just to say something that I've observed. They're moving in public, and I'm just a citizen, and no, you're a traitor, and you should be in prison. And depending on how bad it is, if people died because of what you said, perhaps you should be on death row. That's me. Now, that's my opinion.
Okay, so this is not a big leap for me because I'm thinking back to, like, for instance, when jurors in the the George Floyd trials happened, jurors had their homes because they were doxxed.
That's true. Yeah.
Had their homes damaged. So in this case right here, the violent left, what happens when the first Molotov cocktail gets launched through some ICE officer who makes a middle income living,
lives in Southern California, with
lives
the rest
in
of
wherever. And then what happens is that Molotov cocktail goes through, and a little kid, a wife, a nanny, whoever, friends watching a ball game are hurt or, God forbid, killed because you've got the left wing, which is increasingly violent. I'm not going to say they're getting violent. They have been violent for years. They're getting increasingly violent. And what's going to have to happen at some point is the war against illegal aliens, illegal immigration, is going to have to expand to allies already here in America.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I hate to see it going that way, but I don't see how it doesn't go that way.
Look, our law enforcement and Border Patrol and all those guys, they take oaths to defend the Constitution and the United States against enemies, both foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
So that includes you left-wing crazy. So, I hope you get what's coming to you.
If those Canadians invade, they'll be easy to detect because they'll have the hockey stick.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they ride the moose and we eat the moose.
We eat the moose. There you go.
So we don't even have to capture, the moose they rode in on. We'll just saute it.
There you go.
The same.
If I get her name right, his name or her name, Blue Train Bebop, is that right? On
Yep.
Rumble, mentions how about doxing the doxers?
Ooh,
yeah,
interesting.
I
thought.
hate that we're devolving like this as a society. But this is where we're headed. So I mean, listen, you don't have a duty. I mean, you've got a right. Let me put it this way: you've got a right to keep your mouth shut.
Yes.
You see the cops going in to do something like, I mean, I have gone on social media at times saying, hey, DUI checkpoint right there. You may want to go the other way.
Right.
People get mad at me for that too, because I think those are unconstitutional. With this right here, this is a whole different ball of wax.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My ways of living, how far is heaven?
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A terrific Tuesday forecast with late February temperatures that feel a lot more like late March or early April. Mostly sunny today, an afternoon high up to 63 with a northwest wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Increasing cloudiness tonight, a mild low of 43, and then some light spotty rain showers around tomorrow, but really not a big deal here, not a soaker. And despite mostly cloudy skies, we're still mild. Tomorrow's high at 62. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
Rep. Jasmine Crockett went on the Breakfast Club radio show to badmouth President Trump and the USA. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Something amazing is happening in workplaces everywhere. Devices are learning how people work and adapting to help them get more done. That's because CDW is modernizing experiences with Dell's intelligent portfolio of devices. Thanks to built-in security and AI capabilities, your teams can work smarter wherever they may be. Dell and CDW. Make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Dell Client.
Democrats swoon over their new media darling, Rep. Jasmine Crockett, but is her potty mouth and lack of basic decency really that appealing? She recently appeared on the hit urban radio show The Breakfast Club sporting her own Crockett clapback merchandise, but that's not even the most cringeworthy part. Not only did Crockett say she regrettably finds herself rooting for Canada and Mexico over the USA, she went on to crap on Trump voters. By her expert assessment, she believes Republican voters don't want to read about facts and added that racists support other racists. You know, it's not uncommon for opposing political leaders to call each other out or even badmouth one another, but criticizing American voters is ill-advised. Crockett may be soaking up the media limelight, but word to the wise over there at the DNC. If she's the kind of spokesperson you've chosen to bring your party back, best of luck. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
It's a brand new year. Tim Jones to tell you about the brand new things happening at The Hideout, famous for the Sunset Patio, 50 big screen TVs, live music and events, a fantastic game room, and of course, the food. The Hideout has a brand new menu featuring their world-famous wings, the best handcrafted burgers, new items like the signature Sunset Dip and Dave's Chili, and a second location at Sugar Creek Golf Course in beautiful High Ridge. Experience the Hideout while enjoying a round of golf. Come in for lunch or dinner. The new 2025 Hideout, hideoutsportsbar.com, hideoutsportsbar.com. We'll definitely see you there.
Hey, firearms enthusiast, looking for a family and veteran-owned shop with a wide selection of products and services? Head to DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green. DG Firearms has been your one-stop shop for custom ARs, Cerakoting, laser engraving, gunsmithing, suppressors, ammo, and reloading supplies. DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green, and online at dgfirearmsllc.com.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the News Talk STL app.
Love the News Talk STL app. On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Hi, this is Jefferson County Councilman Billy Crow with a reminder to check out our new show, Jeffco Patriot Radio, this and every Sunday at high noon. Now, back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Did you guys see the reports that Hooters is apparently going to file for bankruptcy?
I did not see this.
Yeah, Hooters, multiple reports on all the business pages say that they're about to file bankruptcy.
The entire chain?
Yeah, the chain.
Wow.
Yeah.
What the heck are they doing that they can't make a profit on,
Right.
on what they're selling?
Yeah.
If you catch what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, matter of fact, I actually had a chance to chat with one of the waitresses here, which I'm going to give you a clip of that in just a second here. But yeah, that's what's weird, because you would think, hey, are they really selling wings and burgers? No, you can get those anywhere.
Yeah.
Although
I hear the wings are delicious.
They are. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any issue going to Hooters.
Sure.
I haven't been to Hooters in forever.
Sure.
But I've got it just doesn't bother me. I think there are probably some people, if they are prone to that causing a problem, then stay away from it.
Yeah, stay away from it.
But if it's like, there's a Hooters right over right over the highway over here. So, you know, if I need to grab quick lunch, that's one of the closest restaurants to where we are.
Well, the thing is, these days, the Hooters outfit is more clothing than what you're going to catch at the gym.
Oh yeah, yes,
So,
that's so true.
You know, at this point, you're desensitized.
Go to in the summertime. Go to a Walmart in the Lake of the Ozarks, and you're going to see a lot more skin than what you see at Hooters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thong.
That's right. But matter of fact, I actually had a chance to have a conversation with one of the Hooters waitresses, one of the Hooters girls about this. And so we asked her, and she seems pretty upbeat. Let me just play a clip from this conversation here.
Hey, y'all, it's me, Cheyenne from Hooters. Okay, so y'all might have heard that we have to declare bankruptcy, which is sad because I think we're the best restaurant ever. Leave it to Hooters to have rumors bouncing around the internet when I don't think we're sagging in sales. Our man boss, Tom, is always keeping us abreast of our situation, and he says we're far from bust. He told me and the other girls, Portia, Sierra, Tacoma, and Silverado, to stay perky with our chests high. So we're going to stay real positive because for us Hooters girls, our motto is yes, we can. See y'all soon.
Okay, the fact that the entire restaurant was populated by women named after cars is my favorite part of that bit.
Hi, my name's Catalina.
That's right.
Portia, Sierra.
Right.
Like I was like, wow, she's like naming the lineup at the front of the dealership near my house.
Hi, I'm Escalade.
She's the classy one. There. Oh my goodness.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Did I go for the cheap laugh there? Yes. Yes, I did.
Yes.
I don't apologize for that.
But that's hey, man.
But here's what's interesting is you would have thought, because we've had recessions, we've had also that
they've survived all
they've
of it.
survived just fine.
Yes.
For obvious reasons.
Remember like the real estate crash and all the .com bust and all these other things. Like there are so many major economic things that have happened over the past years. Hooters never flinched at any of those things.
Yeah, it's 101 straight up says I was only at Hooters once. It was way overrated. But the girls are cute. For the most part.
That's how
they
works.
don't hire the ugly ones there. But I actually I read 2 articles on this a couple days ago when this came out, and one of the theories was fascinating to me in all seriousness
as to why
because their business has dropped off.
Yes,
their in-person business has dropped off. By the way, here's a funny story. A few years ago, I was in Colombia doing some like consulting work and stuff like that, and I'm up at the hotel and I just get Grubhub.
Yeah.
And I actually ordered a cheeseburger and I ordered food from Hooters and had it delivered to my hotel room.
And then so everybody looked at you like, why are you
right
of all the restaurants?
So some driver, whoever it was that picked up the food, is like, yeah, I'm here to pick up a to-go order. It's like, to-go order? This is
Hooters.
But I wanted their key lime pie. They actually have a really good key lime pie. I'll give that. But this article, it was interesting. I don't know how much I buy into it, but the theory that was published, one of the theories, because you would think, attractive young women wearing somewhat revealing. I mean, they're pretty tame.
It's tame.
It's
nowadays.
Really tame.
It's tame nowadays.
I mean, you can look at some of the other ones out there that they're not as tame. Let's put it that way. But they're theorizing that a lot of men simply see so much skin on social media and through online pornography that a fairly tame outfit, even with an attractive young woman, just is kind of an factor now. Because if the guys were going to go out for drinks and watch a game, they could go to, I mean, think about it, around here, you could go to the Post, you could go to Cyberg's, you could go to Millhouse, you can go to wherever you want to go.
TGI Friday.
TGI Friday. Well, they're closing. The one over in the county is closing after 40 years.
That's right.
You could go to Chili's, you can go to any of these places, Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever the case is. What's different here? Obviously, attractive young women, showing a little bit of cleavage, but again, pretty tame compared to some other places I've seen. But the theory is that men are now seeing so much on social media, so much skin, far more than you're going to see there.
Oh yeah.
That it's really became there's no edginess to it, and men are basically getting bored because they expect to see more.
Yeah, it's the argument about the hypersexualized society that we're in, right? And you know, if a billboard of, you know, advertisement for I don't know, cosmetic surgery I recently saw is like is showing all kinds of, you know, stuff, then, and that's on a public road.
Yeah, there's one on 64 as you're heading into downtown. There was the billboard for or used to be billboard for plastic surgery.
Right. So the thing is, you know, just that it's showing more than what you would have seen in any ad, even for a, you know, a scantily clad, you know, business or something like that 30 years ago. Then it's kind of like, yes, we've definitely further down the road. We're way past ankles. Okay. So
but you remember when Hooters first became a thing, which would have been what, the 90s? Probably something like that. Something like that.
Maybe the late
80s.
Late 80s.
I think even further back.
Was it back there?
Yeah.
But that was a big edgy controversy.
Oh, absolutely.
And going to a Hooters, I mean, you kind of got frowned upon by some people like you were going to a strip club or something.
It was on par with a strip club. Yes.
And it is absolutely nothing at this point. And I know there's a few other
83.
Really?
Clearwater, Florida.
Okay.
6 businessmen with no restaurant experience decided to get together and put this thing together.
And they're like, what will sell? Hey, I've got an idea. And you know, of course, then they've had some silly controversies. Like at some point, some guys were suing because Hooters wouldn't hire guys to be waiters.
Yeah,
and
sex
they're
discrimination
like, this
in
is
hiring.
sex discrimination. And I think they won that case.
Yeah, they might have.
But Hooters found a way. Like, we don't care. We'll pay it out. But we're not putting dudes, you know, in this.
No,
because that's what they're selling. I mean, their food's, it's fine.
It's
okay. I mean, it's you know, it's Applebee's, you know, level type food. It's not nothing particularly special. If you're going, you know, probably for that reason, even though it's pretty tame overall. But I just found it fascinating that their business has declined that much and they haven't done anything different. But one of those theories is that, well, guys see so much skin. There are so many women willing to show so much skin that it's not even taboo. That's probably considered darn near, you know, overly modest. Now,
yeah, I mean, look, the Hooters uniform is basically kind of a short shorts with nylons underneath and a tank top.
Yeah.
If you watched the Olympics recently,
yeah, that's right.
You got full on cheeks.
Oh yeah,
right. It's just whether we're talking diving or track and field or beach volleyball, synchronized swimming, all of those. You're just watching American athletes competing on the world stage, and you're getting a much more tantalizing show than you'd get at a Hooters.
Right. And so I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just think it's interesting that the market has spoken and is reflecting the changes in our culture. Now, I think a lot of people are probably going to argue this is a really lousy.
It's a bad
change.
Yeah.
I mean, if Hooters is too boring, then how bad is it getting? I mean, I don't know that it's showing we're in that much trouble or anything, but
I think it's not like an indicator of trouble. It's not a bellwether of the trouble,
right.
But it is definitely an indicator of the trouble. It's kind of it's like, oh, if you have a cold and you have okay, this is a runny nose. This is the runny nose part. But I kind of feel like America has cancer. and
cultural cancer.
We have cultural cancer, and yes, the cold is showing in the closure of Hooters because it's too tame.
Well, thanks for Cheyenne for sharing us what happens.
Yeah, yes, we can.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
St. Louis Pizza and Wings is your local family-owned restaurant on Telegraph Road.
We've got mouth-watering pizza, pasta, wings, burgers, and sandwiches. Even a pet menu for your furry friend.
Incredible weekly specials, dine-in or carry-out, online ordering at stlpw.com. At our wings,
absolutely legendary. Mention Newstalk STL and get $5 off your $30 order.
Visit stlpw.com. St. Louis Pizza and Wings.
Endless choices, guaranteed satisfaction.
Severs JCB, a trusted leader in agriculture and construction. Connect with SeversJCB.com and browse their inventory or stop by and let them show you the capabilities of the JCB lineup. Telebooms, skid steers, loaders, forklifts, excavators, backhoes, and more. JCB has pushed diesel to its limits with machines that now emit 50% less CO2. JCB's new Icon software system will blow your mind, offering iConfigure, iConnect, and iControl. Learn more at SeversJCB.com.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Tuesday on the Allman Report, the files are starting to open. I'll have some details for you on the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the News Talk STL app.
News Talk STL.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the News Talk STL app.
Anywhere.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
Someone falls to pieces, sleeping all alone.
This is one of those kind of wonky political things here, but it looks like one of the committees at the Missouri legislature actually are going to vote on whether to advance a bill that says no local school districts, you are not allowed to let the boys in the girls' bathrooms and vice versa.
Yeah, and they actually had to make this clear.
Right. So this bill and Senator Travis Fitzwater is the sponsor of this, would outlaw. I mean, basically what it says is however you're born, that's the bathroom you use in the schools.
Yeah, that's pretty simple, right?
It's very simple. And there was a hearing on this last week. Nobody showed up to testify in favor of the bill, according to Missouri Net. A lot of people showed up to testify against the bill, which is your typical rainbow flag, LGBT, far leftist sort of crackpots that did that. I have a feeling that the Republicans probably are like, sure, show up and stomp your feet and wave your flag. We're going to pass this thing anyway.
Yeah.
But it is, it's again, committee vote. So this would send it to the full Senate. And early enough that there's a lot of time to deal with this. And you know that if and when this happens, tomorrow, Thursday, whenever that hits the news cycle, the media is going to be all outraged.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
About this. I think that there are enough Republicans now to go, we don't care. Go ahead, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Go ahead and throw a fit. Go ahead, Missouri Independent. Go ahead, Columbia Tribune. Go ahead, Kansas City Star. Go ahead, Springfield News Leader. Go ahead and have your hissy fit. That's fine. We don't care. We're going to pass this, and we're going to say that the place, one of the few places where underage people, where minors are required by law to be, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you say, I don't want my daughter being around that pervert boy in the girls' bathroom or the girls' locker room.
Yeah.
So I'm not sending her to school. Well, after so many days, they're looking for you. You're getting letters. You might get a knock on the door. You may get phone calls. You may get a truancy officer who is a sworn law enforcement agent. Why aren't you sending your kid to the public school indoctrination? And if you don't have a homeschool thing set up or private school, your kids are required by law to be there if they're, I think, if they're under 17.
Right.
And so that's the dynamic that I would remind everybody to keep in mind once you get into the arguments or you see the social media case on this, because what you're going to hear is, like, for instance, a Missouri Net's headline, anti-transgender bathroom bill set for Missouri Senate committee vote.
Or pro girls bill. Is it, you know what I mean? It's like pro child protection.
Right. this, I mean, you could say anti-mental illness, whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
And so keep that in mind, is that every other kid there, generally, now again, you can do homeschooling in Missouri, but for the most part, the law requires those minors to be there, requires the parents to send kids to the school. And if they don't have the resources to do something else, they must by law go there. So if a school district says, well, all you have to do is say you're a girl and then go ahead, biff, and you can drop trowel wherever you want. What you have here then is a government agency, which is a school district, allowing a boy to drop his pants in a private girl space like a bathroom or a locker room, in a place where the state law says you must send your child.
Right.
So because the state says you must send your child, I think the state has a duty, and this is obviously common sense, to say we are going to protect all of these kids.
Yes.
There is no such thing as transgender rights.
No.
There's no such thing as transgender.
First off,
period, on that. So, but that's the aspect of this you should keep in mind when you get into the arguments or the debates with your leftist friends. And they say they're just picking on these kids, just let them live their lives. No.
Well, and the other half of it is that these kids aren't living their life.
No.
They're living a fantasy delusion that is being promulgated in their lives by their parents, and through whatever social contagion has affected them. Because prior to all of this craziness, kids who suffered from any sort of dysphoria, they felt they didn't feel right in their own body, or they had some discomfort with this thing, or they didn't understand some of the socialized differences between male and female. They eventually got over that bullcrap.
Yeah. I mean, the Mayo Clinic study of 25, 30 years showed that.
Yeah, at the level of 90 some odd % of any child who experienced some level of dysphoria, however you want to define that on the spectrum, is, so the crazy explosion of the number of quote unquote trans kids who are out there is purely therefore by scientific, evidence driven by outside factors, either social contagion in terms of the greater society putting pressure on them to do so. We used to call that peer pressure. We used to say that was bad, or the influence of their activist groomer parents who want to use their kids in some sort of weird transy Munchausen by proxy, where they get attention for the illness that their child has.
Right, because what you have here is, you talk about that explosion, almost statistically all of this gender dysphoric mental illness stuff that's been celebrated by schools, been celebrated by media, been celebrated by left-wing governments, by celebrated by the pervert activist. Almost all of this has happened in the last 6 years.
Yep.
Almost all of it in human history. Not to say that it didn't happen throughout human history.
Oh, yeah.
But when you look at the actual numbers, almost all of it has been in the last 6 years. And it's falling off now because we in the United States in particular have said that's enough.
Yeah.
No, we're done playing nice when you're destroying lives, because we're now seeing enough people who are going, you really messed me up when you started giving me those chemicals when I was 6.
The fractional percentage of individuals who identify with these various movements have driven our society so far into la la land that for a time there, America was unrecognizable to the vast majority of Americans. They looked at it as like, I don't understand this concept. And of course, there are so many who were in the go along to get along space that they were just like,
well, they were afraid to speak up.
It's like, or they were cowed into silence.
I'm not a bigot.
Look, I mean, I don't want to be mean to anybody, so I'm just gonna, So the good nature of the American public was weaponized against them to allow this bullcrap to take root. And now, as we're pulling it out, we're realizing, oh my gosh, this is societal cancer, and we're trying to cut it out. Look. I don't care about all the screaming you're having on there. Maybe it hurts a little bit, but this is a necessary surgery.
I'm done being nice.
Done being nice.
Not that I was all that nice to start with on this sort of thing, but I think we should be done being nice.
Absolutely.
We should be done going, okay, we'll meet you in the middle. No, this is a societal cancer that needs to be absolutely eradicated. And so a small bill like this that says something very common sense. And what will happen is there will be school districts that find ways to defy it, either publicly or just quietly, and try to get away with it. So we know they're going to do that because that's how corrupt intellectually and morally every single public school district in the state, probably the country, absolutely is. And I'm talking both Missouri and Illinois. I mean, I have come to the conclusion that most of the people involved in public education probably shouldn't be around children.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They should be barred from it. Like not just maybe a different profession for you. No. You need to stay away from children. 50 feet.
Yeah, probably. All right, Vic Porcelli coming your way here right around 6 minutes, right around 8:04 on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
So perhaps my work here is done. Perhaps it's time that I moved on to a place where there's stuff to do. Stuff to do.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
I've been a registered Democrat for 28 years. I'm really glad you're talking about this. You gotta love these idiots out here. They think we're all stupid, I guess.
news, analysis, opinion.
Totally agree on that. I disagree with you.
It's over.
Very upset.
Thanks for taking my call. Thanks for taking my call. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Wanted to ask you really quick. Is there room on the bandwagon for me?
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
History, wine, spirits, food, and music, plus an awesome name. That's the Old House in Hog Hollow. This beautiful historic home's been turned into a wine bar and event venue that can host any and all of your gatherings. Take a tour while enjoying a glass of wine and see all the original features that are still around from the 1850s. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving breakfast